Okay, so this comment was funny to me. Eric doing live stream in Washington. No, I'd be nowhere near Washington D.C. today. I don't like, contrary to popular belief, I don't like going to D.C. in general. It's a very busy part of the country, and traffic is awful. In general, I go around D.C. if I'm going like north. I used to go up there a lot for work, though.
For comic book geeks, it's kind of weird that we don't like going to DC.
Well, it's just the actual areas. Just the roads are confusing on purpose. I used to work a lot up there DJing. But
what do people do there? Like, if they're not into politics and like the media and stuff, like, is there any other workforce?
Well, I mean, they have like regular stuff, like people
like like working at a Starbucks or something that. But I mean, like, is it another hub for any sort of industry? Or?
Not really. Not really. A lot of people that work there work in politics in one way or another, whether it be like
media
or in the actual political world. But a lot of the people who work in the political area either live in Southern Maryland or Northern Virginia as well. So, but we're not going to be talking about politics today. I want to stay away from that because everybody's been dealing with it all day. I want it to be a fun stream. So, and then of course, Anthony comes in and brings in politics. It's going to be a fun stream. We're just going to have a good time today. So, if you guys want to super chat, if you want to super chat and let your voice be heard, I'll pull it up on screen, but we're not going to.
I love how you can't answer any of Anthony's comments.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Okay, so here's the deal. On Saturday, we had an amazing 5-hour stream that got flagged for like 10 different things. So there's a lot of stuff missing from that stream. But it's not my fault. YouTube it wasn't just yellow, it was red. So it was like blocked. So it wouldn't the video wouldn't even show up for anybody. I can't remember what it was. I know that the gritty. So if you want to see the gritty clip, it is on Twitter, but it's not on YouTube because of the song. I said it. I predicted that was going to happen. Oh well, but it is out there. It's on Twitter. The other thing that got removed were some of the fan films. The Star Wars one I think got removed, and the one from the Logan one, which is weird because they're fan films. Why are they claiming them? I don't know.
Because of the music.
I think it was the music. I think you're right, 3Dub. I think the fan films are using music from like real places. And so that's why they're getting claimed. Anyway, we got a couple super chats here, and I want to talk a little bit about our topic for today. Oh, there wasn't a lot of stuff, obviously, because the weekend, there just was a lot didn't come out. We talked about a lot of stuff on Saturday. So I knew today was going to be a slower day for comments or for topics. So we're going to talk about the Captain America 4 pre-sales. I want to reiterate, and I've talked about this before with pre-sales, they don't really determine whether a movie is going to do good or not. It really is just about the people that want to get in first. So we'll talk about that. We're going to do a MCU ranking. Now, that's what you guys see. If you're on the Reloaded channel and you look at the poll right now, you will see that there is criteria for the ranking. I have the list ready. It goes all the way through Endgame. We're not doing phases 4 and 5. We're just doing all the way through Endgame. Otherwise we'd be here all night. So it's up until Endgame. And the criteria for the ranking is listed there. You can do power levels. You can do zombie apocalypse survivors. You can pick the worst roommates out of the MCU heroes or wasted potential. Now, the only way that will happen is if we hit the goal for tonight. The goal is very simple. 5 super chats of any level within the hour. So if we reach that goal, that will be the criteria for the poll. If not, I will just randomly pick something, but I think you guys would like to choose. So if you want to choose, that is the thing. And by the way, I want to do more of these where if we hit the goal on that night, we just do it that night. I think that's going to be something I'm going to do more often moving forward. What are you laughing about?
I was thinking of the Dr. Zayas clip from The Simpsons. Yeah, Dr. Zayas.
What?
Dr. Zayas.
Are you geeked out tonight? That doesn't feel very locked into me, honestly.
You know me, I'm always geeked out to start, and as the stream gets further and further along, that's when I start to lock in.
Quindolin, good to see you. I'm so glad for the stream. I need something else to think about besides the shit show our country is about to become. So many policies revoked. It's depressing. Can these 4 years pass quickly? Yeah. There's surprisingly a Twitter account that has a countdown timer on it. If you if you want to sit and look at that.
Really funny.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, let's do this. First thing I want to talk about before we get into our Twitter shit is the failed TikTok ban. I don't know if you guys noticed how quickly that came and went. I think, and we don't know where it's going to go from here, but I remember I was at work on Sunday night around 10:30 my time. People couldn't get into TikTok. Now, this was before the ban ever went into effect. Like, they blocked it out. It affected CapCut, which, by the way, I was mad about CapCut because I use CapCut a lot. It's one of my favorite, like, editing apps. That was also blocked. I think Marvel Snap was blocked.
Yeah.
Anything owned by ByteDance was pretty much blocked.
Lemonade was blocked.
What was?
Lemonade.
Oh, Lemonade and Red Note were both blocked.
But the thing is, no one was actually going on Lemonade, so no one actually noticed it was blocked.
Red Note was strangely like not blocked on my end.
Yeah.
They were like marketing it as the like new TikTok. So like if TikTok gets banned, go to this one. I was like, okay, right. Whatever. Some people did, and then that also got banned. So I was like, what was the point? Everyone made an account for nothing
because they wanted to get people on there. I think that's what it was. They just wanted people to get on there. Which, by the way, a TikTok, like an official TikTok ban, would allow other companies to make a new TikTok.
Right.
If it wasn't banned, nobody's going to use those other services. That's just the reality of it. Cody says, question, are you going to include all the Netflix stuff in the ranking? Let me show you. I'll show you guys. Let me pull it up on my screen. I will show you what the list includes so you guys have an idea of it. Here we go. Share screen.
Make sure you got the right tab up.
Yeah. So these are, let me remove Cody's comments. So these are all the characters we're going to talk about tonight. So not everybody. There's too many to talk about. So this is a good like starting point. So this is going to be the one. It goes all the way through Endgame. It does not include any of the adjacent properties. It is mainly just the film characters, and it's not even all of the film characters. So this is who we're going to be ranking. So if you guys are voting on the poll and this is what you want to determine how you go, these are the characters we're going to be talking about.
Whoa, where's Crossbones? What's going on? Where's Crossbones?
Definitely not on this list. Definitely not. Anyway, so but yeah, just very briefly, that TikTok ban came on at like 10:30 at night, and then by the time I woke up the next day, people were using it again already. And the thing that made me really mad, I can't remember. Was it you, Paigey, that I messaged about NordVPN?
Maybe I can't remember.
Maybe it was the group chat. I don't remember who it was, but I use NordVPN regularly because when I'm DJing at different venues, I'm on public Wi-Fi and I don't trust that shit. So I use NordVPN for that. But I know people use it for a lot of things, like watching stuff from overseas on Netflix, things like that, which is fine. That's kind of the point of the service. But I use it for actual like gigs and protecting my computer. So around the time that TikTok went down, NordVPN just literally crashed. And it's because everybody was signing up for NordVPN so they could get to TikTok again. So NordVPN servers were overwhelmed. I guarantee Nord's probably made a bunch of money for this month, I would think.
Well, you know what's the funny thing? It didn't even work. It didn't even work for a bunch of people. Like there's people that are in other countries, like they're in the UK, they're in Canada, they're in Australia.
Oh yeah, Canada also couldn't access because TikTok's, I guess the way they did it, it didn't. It went with like the broad stroke. It wasn't specifically just the United States. It was like all of America.
Some Canadians can get on, but it was based off your phone number. So it was based off literally like. So I think there's like certain Canadian countries like on the border, like areas and stuff like that. But so there's like American people that were in Australia, they're in England, they're in Europe, or whatever it is. But they have American phone number, and that's what they're.
That's so crazy. They didn't even have it thought out well. So and also both administrations says they weren't going to enforce the ban. So if you were on TikTok, even after the ban went into effect, it wouldn't have been held against you.
The ban was never going to, I'm surprised it lasted as short as it did. I thought it would, if it was going, I thought it was going to be squashed within the week, but I thought it would be about like 24 to 48 hours after Trump's inauguration. So pretty much from like 24 or 48 hours from today. So the fact that it was done within 12 hours, I think it was like 10, 12 hours or something from when it officially went dark.
Yeah.
It's pretty, it was, I can give you a perspective though, as someone who was on there when all the Americans got kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
there was so much less brain rot. It's not even funny.
I'm not surprised.
And you know what's the other thing? A lot of the AI content disappeared.
Again, I'm not shocked about either one of those.
It's very interesting to see. But
believe,
I tell you what did. Tell you what did just disappear. Hardly anyone was live, like on the TikTok live thing.
That makes
sense. Which I don't usually go on. I look for the brain rot. But I saw a video of someone mentioning it, and I was like, okay, let me go on. There was like maybe like a couple of like Australian English people and stuff that had a couple, and then it was just pretty much like one follower, like just people that randomly live, pretty much doing like a public FaceTime.
I made sure I prepared an edit to where basically I have the Truman Show going. If I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, good night, right as the ban happened.
Oh, really?
And
right as it happened.
When I came back, there was like 1,000 views.
Yeah. Apparently, like another thing was I didn't remove it from my phone. Like I don't really use it, but I didn't delete it because a lot of people were saying if they did ban it and people were able to still access it, you just don't want to remove it from your phone because it would disappear from the actual like app store.
Yeah.
So
is it still there?
No.
It wasn't when I looked last time. So
yeah, you can't download it back. Like if you got rid of it during those hours, you're just out of luck. You can't.
The only thing you could possibly do is go to one of those sketchy places and set your phone so it can run non-store content. And this only works on Android.
Jailbreak.
I don't. Well, no, it's not even a jailbreak. Like on Android, you can literally tell it to run apps that are not from the store. Like you can click that. It doesn't work like that in It doesn't work like that for the Apple phones, but.
I've never heard anyone refer to it as an Apple phone. In mine, is that a boomer moment, Eric? Might be.
No. Is it not an Apple phone?
It's an iPhone.
I call it an iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's still Apple.
That was
phone, right?
boomer moment, Eric.
No, I don't think.
Yeah, America does supply the brain rot. I was sort of missing the brain rot for that 12 hours.
Yeah, I am gonna be. I do think it's funny because like there was that giant trend that was going on this last week about like people like giving out their darkest secrets and like, oh, I've been lying to you about this, and so I do think it's really funny to now they're like, well, I didn't mean that. I didn't. Right. I wasn't lying for 4 years.
Well, there was some people that completely lied like their whole gimmick for their account. Right. Like that's the dumbest one. But then there was one saying like maybe like a video that was viral during COVID or something was made up. It's like, well, no shit, but they admitted it, and that's like a fun one. But who's literally giving up that like I saw someone say, I saw one person that was a fitness person, and they admitted that they use Ozempic. What a fucking idiot! Like no one's gonna watch your stuff now.
Well, the other thing is I noticed that the app for the TikTok store was still available. So like the one that the influencers use to sell their stuff, that was still available.
Oh yeah, like the equivalent of like that YouTube studio.
Yeah. That was still there. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. But I wanted to pull this up here. This is a app that is, I guess, going to replace CapCut in the market. So this is for it's an Instagram editing app made for upright videos. And there's some screenshots here of what it looks like on the iPhone or the Apple phone, if you were saying it correctly. So it's a new video editor from Instagram, and it looks like a very similar app to CapCut. The interface looks very similar to me. And I'm actually surprised. There is a YouTube. Let me see if they've made changes to it. I've got it on my phone. YouTube Create. Have you guys tried this before? So...
No.
It's YouTube Create. It looks like this. It's an upright video editor. And you can add videos to it and edit, but it's very basic. So it's essentially... Have you ever recorded something directly into your phone on YouTube? Most people don't. Have you guys ever done that? Okay. I do it often when I'm doing shorts. So you upload the video. You can put text over it. You can put a filter on it. You can put a couple of stickers in it and stuff. It's really basic. So YouTube Create is extremely basic. I find that really weird because if YouTube wanted to rival TikTok in their shorts market, they would focus heavily on something like this, like a product that allows people to do more comprehensive editing, on their phone. Because a lot of people that do content for TikTok would be doing it on their phone. So anyway, we'll see where this goes. But we got some super chats. Let's look at these super chats, and then we're going to get into our other topics. I just want to talk briefly about the TikTok ban. So we have Scott Edwards coming in, really setting the stage for this for the stream. Excuse me. 3 out of 5 super chats after the goal was set already. Scott is the MVP of tonight. But lots of really cool super chats here. Let's talk about these. And we're going to start out with this one. Scott with a $4.99 super chat. Do you think we'll see any other Avengers cameo in Captain America Brave New World? Will we see a setup for Doctor Doom? Okay, I'm going to go with the second part of this. I don't know if Doctor Doom setup is going to happen in Brave New World, only because I think Doctor Doom is going to be a multiversal character. And I don't know if Brave New World is going to dive into the multiverse. I think Brave New World, and I don't have a better term for this, but a more grounded type movie in the terms that we're not going to go outside of the scope of what we've already seen in the previews, which is the introduction of a new metal, wrap up for the Eternals movie. I say wrap up, a follow-up to the Eternals movie. Red Hulk introduced, obviously the new Falcon, Sam establishing himself as Captain America in the films, and a few other like street level type villains. I think that's all we're going to see personally, but what do you think, Darren?
No, I mean, I've said my like my pitch for the post-credit scene for like years now has been you end the movie with him having assembled a new group of Avengers, and obviously you won't have the full list, but you'll have like, or I'm not sure if we'll actually see them or not, but we will see him approach Avengers, because that's the whole narrative of the movie is Sam defining himself as Captain America. We even hear it like inside the trailer. Ross wants him to rebrand the Avengers to bring them back to the modern day, and I think that's better than having to do that in Avengers Doomsday, right? There's a lot they're gonna have to do. So I think already having at least an established team, even if we don't see them on screen together, is very smart. Just for because they've been disbanded for a while, so already having a team in place, I think is very smart. So it's just end it being like, hey guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for coming along. I want to blah blah blah, and then you have a shot where it's maybe 5 or 6 other characters that we know.
So you feel like that, in your opinion, or maybe a prediction, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you would like to see sort of the groundwork for the next Avengers set up in this movie. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts on this?
My only concern with that is people will get really upset because it's basically a reverse of Avengers 2, where you have Sam and 6 others land on the ground and Captain America goes, Avengers, and then it cuts.
You're saying at the end of the movie?
Yeah, at the end of the movie. Okay. It was basically the same thing Darren was describing.
Yeah. Paige, do you think we'll see Doctor Doom in this film? Any setup for Doctor Doom?
No.
No.
I don't think there'll be anything. I think in regards to Avengers cameo, maybe some reused footage of Steve Rogers, or maybe
a lot of people think that Bucky could show up, and I still believe we might see him for a split second, but I don't.
Or maybe it's an end credit thing. Maybe
setting up Thunderbolts. I think it might set up Thunderbolts a little bit in the end credit scene.
I think he gives them a phone call. Even if he's not in the actual movie, he'll have a phone call with Bucky, or a face cam or something.
Who's left of the Avengers that would have any connection to Sam? Bucky, Thor.
I mean, Strange, Shuri.
I mean, in a way that makes sense for this movie.
Yeah.
Where they would just call to check up on each other.
Yeah.
Right.
I was going to
Rhodey,
say,
I guess.
Rhodey is one that I think would work. Yeah, it's Secret Invasion, but
I think the most logical one that he may do is we might see Miss Marvel again, and basically continuation of recruiting people.
Okay.
That we saw previously, where she basically recruited Kate Bishop.
Right. If I was a betting person, though, I would say I'd put a little bit of money on a Bucky mention or in credit scene with Bucky. But outside of that, I don't know what we're going to see. But thank you for the super chat.
Someone also brought up She-Hulk, and I could see that, and because that was rumored like a couple years ago. Like it was rumored that she was going to have a little surprise cameo, like as a lawyer, not as necessarily the hero, but like her in a courtroom.
So just something. Jennifer, no She-Hulk, basically.
Yeah.
Or...
I mean, they could show her as She-Hulk too, but I'm saying like it would be more in the lawyer sense. Like that's why we see her, because she's doing like a lawyer case or something.
I actually think, if done right, it would be interesting to see She-Hulk fight Red Hulk. That would be fun. Kind of cool, but that
people would be pissed. But yeah,
they would be. Well, they'd also it would take Sam out of the lead role there in the battle if they did.
Yeah,
it would feel more like Captain America: Civil War than a reintroduction to Sam. I actually think, honestly, this movie needs to not heavily rely on cameos, because I think this needs to set Sam up as this character in a way that establishes him as the leader of the Avengers.
Yeah, like that's why everyone's like, oh, like Hulk should come in and he actually fights Red Hulk, but I think that defeats the purpose of Sam having to fight him. Like the whole point, I think, is that Sam is going to be the underdog. He shouldn't win this fight, and yet he has to do what Captain America does best and get back up and like do the impossible. Like I think that's the whole kind of point.
Yeah. All right, we got another super chat from Scott 199. X-Men and Avengers Doomsday. So I don't know about this one, and let me tell you why. It is going to set up Battleworld, so I think we might see some X-Men, but I don't know if it's going to be anyone that we haven't already been introduced to. So what I mean is like someone from Deadpool and Wolverine, or another character that we saw a variant of in that movie that maybe didn't have any speaking roles or anything like that. But I don't think we're going to see like a new roster of X-Men in Avengers Doomsday.
No.
I could be totally wrong. We'll have to see when we get closer to the movie where the wins are and all of this. But I don't even know if I would want that to happen, unless it's going to be the characters from the Fox universe that are there specifically just to cameo. I think we need to break out when we're done with Secret Wars and they decide to introduce characters at that point. I say done. When we're in Secret Wars and we're there in that moment, they might introduce some characters in that film that go beyond, but I don't know about Avengers Doomsday. I think Avengers Doomsday is going to be a lot like Infinity War in the sense that it's like the leading up to the big stuff. So I'm not confident we'll see any X-Men outside of who we've already met in Avengers Doomsday.
Well, we have met Patrick Stewart in the wheelchair.
And we could see him. Anybody that has already been used in the MCU as a live action version, we can see that being
essentially, if they're going to use anything like that in Doomsday, I mean, Doomsday is going to be pretty much just Avengers characters, essentially, like MCU characters, and you might get Wolverine. You might get Wolverine in there. Actually, you probably will, because then they can chuck him in the advertising, even if it's a small role. And then Secret Wars, that's why you're probably going to get James Marsden showing up as Cyclops, maybe Halle Berry as Storm, and then that's before they hit a bit of a reset button with certain things and they head into that new universe after Secret Wars. There's if there's proper X-Men set up in Doomsday, I'd be shocked. I'd be like, why are you doing it here? Do it in Secret Wars.
I also just realized that we also got one from the first class era of X-Men, and that was Quicksilver. He was in the MCU as a variant of...
during WandaVision? Yeah. I mean, look, I think anyone that has made a live-action appearance is fair game for this movie. I think any new characters being introduced will happen in Secret Wars. I
think even new characters won't happen in Secret Wars. New characters happen in the X-Men movie whenever they do it.
No, I agree. That's probably the most likely, but I'm saying if I were a person betting and somebody was saying, pick one of these two movies that you might see a new character, I would be more inclined to say Secret Wars.
Eric, I am a betting man. You know what I'd do? I'd save my money and I'd probably put on another bet.
Yeah, I don't think, or at least I don't want Doomsday to be about the multiverse characters. Like, I really want Doomsday to be about finally bringing together the characters we have been building to for the last 6 years now. Like we have... Right, we have a giant toy box. We have taken out all of our action figures. Don't take any more out, right? Play with the ones that you've already been building to. So, all your young Avenger characters, your Shang-Chi's, your Kate Bishop's, your, Captain Marvel and Sam and Thor and Hulk. Like, those are the characters I want you to focus on. And then Secret Wars is your time to be like, okay, bringing together all those multiverse characters that we've talked about. Your Wolverine, your Deadpool, your Patrick Stewart, your Cyclops. That's the time. Your Blade, your Gambit, stuff like that.
I literally thought when you were like, "What I want with Doomsday," I'm like, the death of Superman.
All right, we're gonna move on from that. Thank you for the super chat. We got 3 more here from Scott. Again, Scott is just rolling in with the
killing it.
Super chats here. All right, Scott here with the 199 super chat. Do you consider sequel trilogy canon? So I think we're talking about Star Wars here. I consider everything canon unless I'm told otherwise when it comes to Star Wars, because Star Wars is a very I don't think fragmented is the correct word. Multifaceted franchise.
I was gonna say cooked. Is that the
cooked? It's kind of all over the place in a lot of ways. Like if they came out and said that Acolyte was a one-off, non-canonical story, right? They just wanted to just erase that for whatever reason, then it would no longer be canon. But I'm going to assume it is now, unless they say otherwise, because I know like Star Wars Visions, which is that anthology cartoon series, all of that is
non-canon.
Kind of, it's just stories in the universe of Star Wars, but not necessarily in the main like timeline.
For me, Star Wars episode 1 through 9 are like set in stone as canon because they're attached to episodes 1 through 9. Whereas like Solo, a Star Wars story, could branch off into like a variant of Han Solo, because that's not Han Solo. That's not Harrison Ford.
I think in the instance of, for me, the canon would be like things like Rogue One, which establishes the setup for the films and things like that. So I would consider Solo to be part of canon, only because it was written in the order of the way events would have played out according to the writing in the series. But I do know that a lot of people would consider certain things, they pick and choose what they want to accept and they don't. Yeah, and look, I don't have an issue with people. Look, as long as you don't use that as an excuse to hate something later, I don't care if you consider something canon or not. Like, because 3W, you don't like the Solo movie because it's not Harrison Ford.
No, I don't like the Andor series because it's a dead end story. Like,
right.
You know his end.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, as long as you don't look later on to something that might have had a character from Andor and you're like, well, now I don't count that because I didn't like Andor. As long as that's not your reason for hating something, then I feel like there's a conversation to be had. But if it's immediately just like shut down because of that, that I think is a little bit stubborn in the sense of the way the stories are written. But people are allowed to like what they like and what they don't like. It's whatever. But I consider all of the main films, like you were saying, 1 through 9, if we're talking about a storyline starting and going all the way through, that is, to me, is all canon. Even the stuff that I don't like. I've accepted a long time ago, there's a lot of stuff that I don't like that happened in the Arrowverse that is canon. Like, it's there. Like, Legends of Tomorrow did a lot of shit where I'm like, that I just don't like that. But it's there. It exists. You just have to accept it and love the things you love, even when they're imperfect.
And I don't like truly hate Andor. I just not invested in it as someone that watches Star Wars.
I know you've already said. What was your criteria? If it doesn't have like
basically
a lightsaber in it?
no, nothing that makes you excited for Star Wars was in
it. Well, I mean, but you had
no
some
dark
specific,
side, no Sith. No
I was going to say
Jedi.
that's it. That go a little bit further. You had some specific stuff that you said you didn't like, and part
basically,
of it was
the things that made Star Wars,
right?
Were in Andor.
So I knew you had, because everybody kept calling you out on it. I didn't really care, but a lot of people kept calling you out on it, which
I'm just not invested in it like other Star Wars people.
Okay. Staying within Star Wars, we have another super chat here from Scott. Thank you. Abeloth in Ahsoka season 2. I tried to see if there was
Abeloth.
It's like a cosmic character, I believe. I don't know everything about this character. Does anybody know? I wish Omega was here because Omega.
It's like a sloth or something.
That's Darth.
That's from Star Wars Legends. I just did my stream with Darth and Taz, and they went on like a 35-minute like talk about it. And I phased out. I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I think rant. So I think it's a connection with the Mortis gods in Clone Wars.
I think it's Star Wars. I think it's a legend.
What the hell? It looks like a creepy pasta. What the hell is this thing?
Well, I think it's because there's been no visual manifestation of the character, so it's all based on like the description.
It looks like that.
Comic Nation Gaming says she's the mother of the Force. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like they got a like curb stomp, but with like a meat cleaver. Well, what's going on with this thing?
I enjoyed Ahsoka season 1. I'm excited for season 2. I'm willing to go with whatever they want to give us. I'm very casual. I think I've said this before. I'm a very casual Star Wars fan. I don't really need it to be anything specific. I just want to be entertained. And that's my feeling about pretty much everything, is that as long as I'm having a good time, I tend to forget the stuff that I have a problem with. So I've seen so many movies where I come out of the movie and I was like, that was a really good movie. And then my brother will say, but what about this? And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. But it's okay. I still loved it. It's a good movie. So that's how I tend to view things. As long as I have a good time, I'm okay with it. And I'll be interested in that. All right. And we have our last super chat from Scott here, 199. Thank you again. Who should lead Avengers in Doomsday? I know this is going to be controversial for a lot of people, but I believe Sam Wilson, Captain America, should lead the Avengers. I feel like it's the natural progression of the character. I know a lot of people want Captain Marvel to do it. I would not have an issue with Captain Marvel being part of that leading decision of the Avengers, but I think we should establish that Sam, as Captain America, is the leader of the Avengers in Doomsday. That's just...
You know what I think? I think this is pretty much like a hot take. I think Doctor Strange will be the leader of Doomsday.
I think he'll I don't think he can. I don't think he has the people skills to fully lead.
He doesn't have the patience, but you know.
Yeah, I think it's like the perfect balance. I think Sam should be like the main lead, and then co-lead with Strange and Captain Marvel, because then you have all the kind of areas of the MCU. You have the grounded area with Sam. You have the cosmic with Captain Marvel. You have the magic with Strange. You're covering all of the bases.
I mean, it's very similar to the way the hierarchy in the original Avengers worked, if you look at the way it was set up. Because in a lot of ways, Doctor Strange is a mirror reflection to Tony Stark, Iron Man.
And Bruce Banner can't be the Hulk because he has anger issues.
I don't think Bruce ever wanted to be the leader of anything. I mean, one of the stories with the Bruce that we've seen in the MCU is that he doesn't like any of this stuff. Like he's doing it because he knows that they need him. But I think Bruce would be totally happy, like retiring somewhere in the middle of nowhere and not dealing with any of this ever again.
And of course, you missed the joke. But
what was the joke?
I said Bruce will never be the leader because he has anger issues.
No, I got the joke.
Yeah, I heard the joke. It just wasn't funny. That was a difference.
No, I heard it. I don't know if I needed to acknowledge it, but
well, no. The big answer for that is who's directing the movie.
The Russos.
There you go, Sam Wilson.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be Sam. I know that's gonna I think there's a lot of people.
Or they could go full woke and it could be She-Hulk. That'd be hilarious. And Megan the Stallion.
Will not be She-Hulk.
Megan the Stallion and She-Hulk.
Yeah, well, actually, I would tune in for that movie.
She should be there, but
she should 100%.
Who, She-Hulk or Megan the Stallion?
Well, both. No, She-Hulk. She-Hulk should be there. I feel like there's a perfect opportunity for them to bring She-Hulk in during these two movies, only because if they're going to do Battle World, it's just like the perfect opportunity to really.
Oh, I just thought of something too. There's going to be you brought this up 4 streams ago about Reed Richards. Not having some sort of leadership what's the word strain to basically he wants to be leadership and Sam's the leader and there's going to be tension.
Well there's a version of Reed Richards, the maker, who is known for the problematic stuff that he's done. And I don't know if they're going to go in that direction or not. We'll have to wait and see. I think Reed, like, if we're going to talk about another person that I think is capable of leading the team at the level of like Captain America, and we haven't even seen this version of Reed yet, but in the comics, as controversial as some of the decisions he's made, like the Council of Reeds and everything, Reed Richards is a leader. Like, he can lead a team.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would be the best choice because I think the Avengers need to establish themselves as a separate thing in the MCU. It's not like the comics where it's fluid. Like, there needs to be a definitive person. I mean, look at Civil War. Civil War was such a big deal in the MCU because you had Tony versus Steve, which is, those were the two leaders of the Avengers at that point.
Would Reed fall under the arrogant side of leadership?
He can be, yes. Yeah,
okay.
He can be. Well, that was the thing is, Paige, we talked about this. The Reed that they showed in Multiverse of Madness was not... the reason why he didn't feel like Reed is because he wasn't as arrogant as Reed normally is. Like,
no.
Reed has a very like abrasive personality. Nothing like the Fantastic Four movies either. So
he felt full of himself.
Not even, but it still wasn't even close to the Reed in the comic books. The Reed in the comic books thinks he's always the smartest person in the room.
Right.
100%. So,
well, he
doesn't think he knows it, and that's where the cockiness comes from.
Mm-hmm. That's also the struggle between him and Doctor Doom, is that Doctor Doom and him are always battling for who is the most intelligent person between the two of them. And
this guy can blow your brain out with one word. That was stupid.
Yeah. I will say this though, I think the way they've missed the mark on Doctor Doom is so egregious, because what makes Doctor Doom so interesting in the comics outside of his personality is he is smart with technology like Tony Stark, but he's also really smart in magic and proficient in magic like Doctor Strange. So that what makes him so dangerous is he creates technology that works in conjunction with magic. And so a lot of his stuff is really hard to fight against because it is not just technology. It's also enchanted or cursed or something along those lines. And so they need to make sure that they nail that with Doctor Doom in the MCU.
Do you think Reed would have a liking to other characters that are sciencey, like Peter Parker?
I mean, that's the thing is Peter Parker is so vastly different from Reed Richards in terms of personality. Reed Richards would find other smart people to be competent, but he would still find them to be less than him. Like, he would never consider them to be his true equal, which is why, like, the original Illuminati in the comics, they butted heads so much because you had a bunch of egos in the room, and Reed Richards was a big one. Why do you think the Council of Reeds was created? Because he believes he's the smartest person. So, of course, he's going to surround himself with other people that he thinks are the smartest people, which is just a bunch of him.
Well, I mean, like, more of, like, mentor figure. Basically, he will, like, grow to like Peter Parker as a character and befriend him as a mentor kind of.
I mean, he's not going to be mean to him. He's not going to like shun him or anything like that. But I think we need to get away from Peter being a side supporting character for the mentors. Like, we need to break away from
the
that.
mentor. Yeah.
Right. We did it with Iron Man. We did it a little bit with Doctor Strange. I need like the next Spider-Man movie to establish him as this is Spider-Man. He doesn't need a father figure, right? We're gone beyond that at this point.
Uncle Ben died. And then
all right, Scott coming through with another super chat from 199. Y'all like Jennifer Garner Elektra? I don't have an look. I realize that she is a controversial Elektra, and I will totally accept that. But I don't mind Jennifer Garner. I think she was miscast as Elektra. And to be honest, I think that movie was so silly. I don't know if anybody saw the Elektra movie, but I think it was so silly. She did the best with what she was given. I did like her in Deadpool and Wolverine only because she understands what went wrong with that character, and they sort of tried to fix that a little bit in that movie. But I wouldn't necessarily want to see her come back as Elektra. I think we've done that. Been there, done that. I don't need to see her back as Elektra. Any other thoughts on that?
I like the character when hanging sandbags are involved. I think that is arguably the best version of the character, especially when there's a certain soundtrack playing in the background as well.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I know that's your favorite scene. I've seen you twerk or whatever.
Not. My cat unplugged my lights again.
How does that? No, it's arguably the best scene in that movie.
Is it?
I honestly can't.
How did y'all let me go 40 minutes without telling me my cats turned my lights off? Like, that's not cool.
Were they on to begin with?
Right before the stream started, yes.
I honestly can't remember what I hated about Elektra. It's been so long.
There's nothing to really hate about her. I just don't think she was very
no, I meant like
in the role.
Overall story wise. I can't remember what the story was.
It's just not good. I can't remember it. I just know it was ass.
The story for the Elektra movie, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It was like these other demons with powers coming after her in the woods.
It's got Typhoid Mary in it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like, I can't remember what they were called. They had a name for these characters. They had some, I don't know. It wasn't good. So, Defunct with the $2 super chat and a team member. Do you like stuff in things?
No.
Stuff in things or stuff and things? I think that's
It's up to you, Eric. You can really decide whether.
Well, it really depends if you're locked in or you're geeked out. That's really what it depends on. If you're locked in, then yes. If you're geeked out, then no, absolutely not.
I think I might start to lock in.
Things.
I might start to lock in once we get past these super chats.
Is that what you're trying to do? You're getting locked in? All right, hold on.
Yeah.
All right, we have one more, and then we're going to... Where's this at? I want to start off with the Captain America numbers. We can get that out of the way, so we might skip some other stuff. So we did hit the goal, by the way. Thank you, guys. We hit the goal. So whatever the poll decides before we start the list will be what the criteria is. So please feel free to go in and vote your heart out. Where's this at?
Never prepared.
No, I had it in the tab here.
Disorganized.
No, I had something saved for Tom Holland. I don't know why, but
Tom Holland.
Yeah, it's some news that dropped. I don't know. Darren probably saw it.
Is it about Zendaya?
Is that the Odyssey thing?
It is the Odyssey stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll talk about that in a second.
It wasn't the one I was thinking.
Is that about his
we'll get
non-alcoholic beer thing?
No, it's
we'll get it. It's actually a pretty big deal, honestly.
Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah. All right, hold on. What's that? Let's see. All right, here we go. This is what I want to talk about. All right, we'll get there in a second. One more super chat from Naruto. This is no one else knows anything about this. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that knows anything about this. $5 super chat. Thank you, Naruto. Eric, did you see the Rippaverse just hired Gothix as a content creator? Before I answer this question, does anybody have any clue what this is about?
I know what a Rippaverse is because I'm around you, unfortunately. That you've supplied some brain rot to my life. I have no idea what the Gothix is.
This is one of those super chats where it would require so much backstory for me to explain it to you guys. I'm going to give my answer to Naruto, and anybody that knows about this will understand. What
is this like the woke version of like the Costco guys, sort of?
No, it's just so.
Does anyone bring the boom?
Gothix is an ex-member of a community called Black Girl Gamers.
Girl Gamers.
Right. So it was a community of black girls, black women that got together and played games together and talked about gaming and stuff like that. I don't know if she left or she got kicked out. I never did figure out how that happened. But apparently she was starting problems in the group by just being, I guess, rude and annoying. And so she was no longer there. She left, and then she got into an argument with me about something months ago. We went back and forth a few times.
In her baseball.
Yeah. So she tried to like call me out on something because she did a video. Basically, the video that she made. Oh my God, see, this is gonna take forever. The video she made that I responded to was a clip that was sent to me where she tries to impose religious beliefs on media. And so I called it out and I said, I don't think that someone's personal religious beliefs should be used as a way to censor media. That was what I said. And I still stand by that. I don't think anybody's personal opinion should be used to censor media. I think if you want to watch something, you can watch it. And if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to watch it. That's where I stand on that. But she didn't like that. So she called me out. She wanted to do a stream with me. But then several people were like, no, she's disingenuous, blah, blah, blah. So the stream never happened. I was either going to bring her on my stream or I was going to go on stream, but it never happened. Anyway, now she's been hired by Eric July to be a content creator for the Rippaverse comic book company, even though she has literally no background in comic books.
What do you mean content creator? Like what, just do stuff for his YouTube channel?
Make videos for YouTube. Yeah, pretty much.
For his YouTube channel?
Well, no, I don't know if it's for his or for the Rippaverse YouTube channel because there's two different channels. Anyway, he's got a lot of women working for him, and a lot of people in that space have an issue with women being in charge of stuff, so they are losing their minds about this. I will say it's an interesting person to be hired because I've not seen them work together on anything ever prior to this. I think they might have been on some streams together. But I don't know. I feel like at this point, we'll see where it goes. I don't have a really good opinion of Gothix, so we'll leave it at that. But thank you for the super chat.
It's apparently on IMDb. Like there, I just looked up her name, and it brought up like a 2023.
I think Black Girl Gamers did some stuff with like documentaries and things like that. So she's probably on.
And also Eric July.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Question about Captain America 4 has a budget including marketing with $500 million. Does that mean Marvel Studios needs? That's a debunked number.
Yeah.
They've already established, or at least they came out and said that the movie's reshoots were already factored into the budget, and that it has not, quote unquote, it has not gone over budget. Is apparently that those numbers are skewed by people that are just talking shit, pretty much.
Yeah.
They want to make it look bad.
Yeah, I would say if this movie is just like I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say if the movie breaks 600 to 700 million, I think the studio is fine with it. I don't think that's going to be considered a failure. I think they would like it to be closer to $1 billion, but I don't think that's a realistic expectation. For this movie. No. So,
do we have the actual budget yet? Because that I think is going to make and break the.
I think 500 million is way too high, to be honest. I don't know what the actual budget is. Meister says they've streamed together a fair amount. Yeah, I don't really watch their... To be fair, I've kind of gotten bored with like the Eric July Rippaverse stuff, so I only watch stuff when it's sent to me. So...
Okay, this is saying 350 to 375 million.
I think that was the number that was debunked, though. I think that was the number...
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the number that was debunked. Because that's factoring in reshoots that they said were already established in the filming process. Until I see a number pop up on one of the reputable sites, I'm not listening to what anybody has to say about it.
Also, that marketing budget is going to be huge. Because I've seen it everywhere. Like, they are marketing this movie, honestly, more than Deadpool. Like I think I've seen more trailers for this.
I actually think it needs it more than Deadpool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Deadpool didn't need the paid marketing because people are already sort of talking about Deadpool. Right. Ryan Reynolds is really active on social media, so they didn't really need to do their own thing there.
Yeah. What's up, Michael?
And also because Deadpool was R-rated, like someone would argue, like, you know, where can you advertise it where it makes sense for the metrics?
Yeah. When do you think the real numbers will come out for Brave New World's budget? So if we're going by like past films, sometimes it doesn't come out until after the movie is released.
Yeah.
If like you don't see it for like a while. But you'll see something like Box Office Mojo or Wikipedia will use a number. Typically you can figure that out after the movie comes out. But one thing I think people have to understand, and I feel like I have to say this over and over and over again, and Quinlan, this is not about you, I'm just leaving your chat up here, but when a budget for a movie comes out, we are not privy to any of the discounts or tax relief they get on it or rebates they get on it or promotional stuff. There might be 5 Pepsi bottles sitting in the background of that movie, and that's $5 million off of the movie. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. I've gone through and I looked at it. Things like Harley, for example, the motorcycle company, Harley Davidson, they pumped like $25 to $40 million into a movie's budget just to have them use their vehicles in that movie. So you have to subtract that from the budget of the movie. And a lot of people, we won't know that. Sometimes we'll never know that. So I think that these like armchair analysts who get a lot of people watching their content, you know who they are. Yes, it's great for conversation and just what does he call it, Paige? Water cooler talk or whatever. But it's not like a definitive thing. They don't know any more than anybody else. They're going on.
Well, I think with this movie, I think they got to make a decent amount. I don't think they're at like Justice League 2017 levels, but I think they're far off in regards to how much they had to spend.
You mean budget wise?
Yeah, so they're probably cooked unless the movie does really well. I think.
I think there is potential for the movie to do well. I don't think $1 billion is realistic.
No.
Realistically, it's going to make more than Craven.
Well, I mean, I would hope so.
That's like it's like saying like Usain Bolt's gonna beat the guy with that legs in a running race. Like, but
I would say
750, 800.
You think 750, 800? I would say that's.
Well, I'm just assuming based off like the production budget, and as you were talking about, they're clearly spending a lot on advertising. So, like, it might even be more. Yeah. But like, but also, you know what the thing was? Well, the thing is, not it was because the movie's not come out yet. But the thing is that it goes up to the previous discussion. If Sam Wilson's going to be leading up the Avengers, maybe they're willing to take a loss on this, just like with the first Captain America movie, which wasn't I think they might have lost money on that movie.
I actually think they just want to break even on this movie. Personally,
I think they want to break even.
I think they're looking forward to
Sam
Fantastic
Wilson.
Four. Yeah,
but I think they also want to get Sam Wilson front and center.
Right.
So they can lead him, have him as the leader there. So he has his own movie.
Which and like obviously it didn't get much eyes, but also I think they were doing that with What If in this last season too. They were like showing him as Captain America, right? Showing him as the lead of the Avengers, slowly trying to ingrain him into the public eye, which I think is very smart. I think that's the right tactic.
I do wonder, like, do you think? I don't think it'd be the case because I don't think it really would matter too much. I'd like to think that they wouldn't because it probably shows a lack of faith. But do you think there's a fail safe just in case this movie doesn't do well? Maybe they want to shift focus in regards to who is the leader in.
Yeah,
I think Secret Wars will be determined. I think with Secret Wars they're going to keep the stuff that they think works and get rid of the stuff that doesn't work, and that's gonna. A lot of people are going to get new jobs, and a lot of people are going to lose jobs. I think that's what's going to happen.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I don't think they have to worry about the Avengers. Like, I think Avengers, pretty regardless, is that $1 billion no matter what they do.
Yeah, like they could. It could be the Avengers go have lunch, and it'd probably make like close to $1 billion, and it would have cost them $4 to make. Like it would have cost them $4 to buy the lunch.
And then especially with like Downey now being involved in Chris Evans, it's like that's now a $2 billion movie, like easily without a doubt. Which is why I honestly don't even understand the whole Downey Chris Evans thing. I feel like you already had enough of the big players from Phase 4 and 5 and called it Avengers. People would show up. Like, you still have Thor, you still have Hulk, you still have Spider-Man, you still have a lot of these big Star-Lord. Like, you have these characters that people still genuinely love and care about, that people would have shown up regardless. Like, I don't think you needed to do all this fanfare.
I mean, speaking to that, Darren, I mean, I'm seeing these tweets already from like Daniel RPK where he's saying like Chris Hemsworth is going to be in the Avengers movies. Like we already knew that. That was one of the things we already knew. Seeing here what else we have. Where's it at? Spider-Man's going to appear in the next Avengers movie, and I'm like, these are things we already knew. Like seems ridiculous. It hasn't even been.
I've actually. You know what? To be fair, though, I did slightly doubt if Spider-Man was going to be in that one, just because they're filming Spider-Man 4 and Avengers pretty close together. So I was wondering, maybe an Odyssey and a couple of like he's very busy these next couple of years.
Right, didn't he take like a year off or something? I think he was like out of work for like a year or so.
But still, like filming 3 massive movies like Odyssey, Avengers, Spider-Man in 1 year is crazy. Like he's going to be going one to the other. Yeah. And also, if they film Doomsday and Secret Wars back to back, that's 4, right?
Right.
So it's like,
well, there's a high capability that he's not in Doomsday that much, but he's in Secret Wars a lot, or vice versa. And in
doesn't the Spider-Man movie come out between the two?
Yeah. Well, that's the plan at the moment.
Yeah, because I actually think that Spider-Man movie is going to be a Battle World movie. Like it's going to be a self-contained story about the Peter Parker that we know. And I mean, if Captain Marvel is any indication of like what that does to the movies, we're going to see like
that is true, Anthony. Tom Holland is starting to lock in after that.
Yeah, he is really locked in 100%. Yeah.
He's crazy right now.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead.
He's geeked out and probably wants to lock in. Simu Liu.
Oh,
I think
he's
definitely wants to lock in, but he just keeps getting told to geek out.
Yeah. All right. Let's do this.
We're already fucking on this an hour in.
Wow.
Oh, God.
Well, Well, to be fair, we didn't really have a lot to say. Like, there's not a lot of Twitter stuff to talk about anyway. So we're going to go through this very quickly. We're going to get to the ranking list. But this is one of the main topics that I wanted to cover, which is the Captain America landscape right now. So Captain America Brave New World early pre-sales are eyeing an 11.05 million Thursday preview opening. Higher than films like Eternals, Shang-Chi, Captain America the Winter Soldier. Well, it's higher than Winter Soldier, which is crazy. I mean, that's...
Why report it as 11.05?
I mean, they just want to be close, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it ran it down to the cent then, if you're really going to do it like that.
This is really good, though. This tells me that like we're looking at least Winter Soldier type of numbers for sales. Look, here's best case scenario for this is these numbers are right. They might even be better than this, which I hope. And the movie's actually good and they get good word of mouth. That's really what it comes down to. And I think this looks really good for the film, to be quite honest. Some of the shots we're seeing here, I think we'll take a look at the poster here in a minute. But what are our thoughts? Do we think it's going to do Winter Soldier numbers? Is that realistically possible, or what?
I think it does better. And no shade to Sam Wilson or Anthony because of Red Hulk, though. Like, I think Red Hulk is the
guy right here on the screen, the Harrison Ford. Being
you got Harrison Ford, and you have really the first piece of major Hulk content since like Endgame, really. Like. I guess She-Hulk a little bit, but like, I don't know. Like, people just miss this kind of Hulk content.
Let me tell you, Darren, I think you're onto something. Let me tell you why. People have complained about the way they portrayed Hulk, like normally, as not being this. Like the last Hulk we really got was in Age of Ultron. Like that was the last time he actually was like this raging monster. So this is going to be that for those guys. Like this is going to be that Hulk. And it's Harrison Ford. And it's going to be just pure like fire and destruction and rage. And so I think that's really going to be like something that, and I'll be honest, I like this design. I like the way this Hulk looks. Like, I think this looks very much like Harrison. It doesn't have that like that ogre look that sort of they had on the other Hulk. And the muscles, the visuals, like we're seeing the all of the really good post-production shots now that we're getting, like this one, where it just looks really slick and exciting. So I think you're right. I think that's a big deal, honestly.
Yeah. Can you go back to the Harrison Ford picture?
Yeah.
It doesn't that kind of like on the nose with stage 5, stage 6, stage 7, stage 8, and stage 9 of the like the phases? Basically, it kind of like resembles the phases.
Wait, were you talking about the cap status up there?
The cap status. Like basically, it says stage 5, but it kind of like reminds me of like
what
phase
is
5.
that in reference to? By the way, what do we think that is? I don't know what that would be.
Like, I think it for me it feels like a not. Remember when Nick Fury was like phase 2, put phase 2 on the truck and get it out here?
Yeah,
that was basically like a fourth wall break about phase 2 of the MCU in a sense, because we were on phase 1 at the time. So I
don't know. I don't know what this is in reference to. This is probably not even going to be an important scene, so I'm not too worried about that.
I feel like it's a fourth wall break.
Maybe it might be. So Quinlan, this is something Pagey's talked about quite extensively. At this point, a lot of actors people think are box office draws aren't The Rock, Henry Cavill, Tom Cruise, etc. I would say if you look at Harrison Ford and you look at Indiana Jones as an indication, it's quite possible maybe he isn't the biggest box office draw, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say in the MCU, this is the first time we're seeing him in the MCU as an actual character, and he's portraying a character that has been another actor for a long time. So I think there's a lot of things that might lead people to come in and check out Harrison Ford in this. Plus, to be quite honest, he's getting older and he's not going to be doing a lot more films, I don't think. So people that are fans of Harrison Ford I don't know. There's something about the vibe of this that makes me think he's going to be an important reason why this movie does well. I could be wrong. 100%. But well,
it's also the fact that it's like a political thriller and he's in it. Well, it's like it's played off as like a political thriller. I don't know if it's going to... the final product's going to be like that, but the way that they're advertising it is very much like a Tom Clancy movie or something like that almost.
But Gwendolyn, you're right. But the trailers have been good. I've stopped watching the full trailers, but I did see a clip because we're so close to the movie at this point. But I did see a clip of him with the vibranium Wakanda tech, the purple, which looks fucking great. Which, by the way, we didn't see that in the original trailer because I don't think the VFX were done. Which we had all called that out and said that it wasn't done yet. But we saw him flying around like the aircraft carriers. That shot looked amazing. I was like, okay, all right. I think this movie it's almost giving in a lot of ways a Top Gun vibe, which I think they're doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's many things that are going to make this a success. Like obviously Red Hulk stuff. I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago, but I think now Sam is a nostalgic character, which is kind of cool to see. Like he is really the closest we're going to get outside of Hulk and Thor and stuff like that to like an OG Avenger. I think people are feeling nostalgia for that era. Really the closest we're going to get in a couple years to that. And it also just feels different. Like a lot of the MCU stuff we're getting. And I think that's going to be a pattern this year because I think Thunderbolts feels different too. I think Fantastic Four will as well. One thing I am going to be curious because this is the launch, I think, of a new era of Disney because this is the first Marvel Bob Iger project, right? Like since him coming back. So this is going like this year is finally going to be the like, okay, did he perform on his promises of quality over quantity that he had pitched over and over and over again? Is what he said about we're going to start making good movies again, you know, all mumbo jumbo, of course, but like, is there going to be weight to that? And I think that's going to be really interesting to see because if this is good, this is the one I'm very worried about. If this is good, I think we could have one of the strongest streaks in Marvel in a while. Like I think you got this Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, you know, a lot of the like the animated stuff. Like you could have one of the best stretches in the MCU, maybe of all time, if pulled off right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was looking here. There's some other posters that came out. This is the final poster for China, I believe.
This is a cool poster.
Or Japan. I can't remember what it said.
Wow, racist. I can't tell the difference there.
Well, it's just international. That's why it's just the international poster. I couldn't remember what somebody said.
I think it's just like, this is just released. They put whatever dialect. It could be in English, probably, if it's released here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But this is the international poster. So, but there was another set of, where is it at? There was a set of posters. There's this one here, which I thought.
I like this. Is my favorite poster they
released. This one's
it's
really
like good. It's like vintage, but also fits like the political thriller sort of thing. I tell you what, if Giancarlo Esposito is literally only in like 5 minutes of this movie, though, it's like they're really trying to stretch him to.
I will say this, that I also feel like this poster corrects a lot of the complaints about what the Marvel posters looked like before, because it still has everybody sort of in the poster. But you know what it looks like to me, and people in the chat are probably going to be like booing me for this one, but it reminds me of the posters we used to get for the CW seasons, like where you kind of see all the characters together, but they're not just.
But it's not floating heads. Yeah, like
the floating heads thing really annoyed me with those.
Do you think it's an homage to the Patriot games? A movie he was like, I think it was in the 90s. It kind of looks like that poster a little bit, just in terms of its style and its like motif, just like old action movie aesthetic.
They're going hard with the color scheme too, the red, white, and the blue. They're going really hard with that. Yeah. Here's some other posters here. This is one from Fandango.
Oh, that one's cool.
Again, it feels like a throwback poster, which I like. I don't know.
It looks like you were meant to look at it in 244p or something like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We have this one here, the 4DX.
That's okay.
This one's okay. Yeah. I think this
no one's framing this poster, if that makes sense.
But I will say this, like the one thing I have noticed in a lot of the posters is they are really pushing Red Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Like they are really, really, really pushing Red Hulk.
And it's really funny because I think people might be a little disappointed when he's not the villain of the movie. Like,
right. Yeah.
Like Leader seems to be the movie. Much. Yeah.
Here's another one here. This one's great. I love this one. This just kind of shows.
If it didn't have that film for IMAX thing in the background, it'd be probably the second best one behind that.
This one reminds me of the 2008 The Incredible Hulk, where the Hulk is overshadowing the Bruce Banner. Where
to be honest, this sort of reminds me of Daddy Daycare starring Eddie Murphy.
Wow.
Does it really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have this one here. This is the final one that I found, the real D 3D one.
Real D 3D.
This looks like a variation of the one we looked at earlier with him in the angel pose, but just with the wings down.
Yeah.
What does the D stand for?
I don't know. Real D. I don't know.
Guess locked in. What are you gonna say there?
Okay, here's a thought I just had. I am now kind of like with Hulk being like marketing and all the posters, all the trailers. If he's not in it enough, right? Like if he's only Red Hulk for like 10, 20 minutes or whatever of the movie, do you think people will come out of that being very disappointed? Do you think it'll be like a Doctor Strange 2 situation?
I don't think it's going to be about time. I think it's going to be about quality, honestly. I think if he's in there, and even if it's only like a 15-minute like scene with him fighting or whatever, 10-minute scene, it's going to be about how good that scene is, because I do believe. So here's the question: Is it a character that continues on after the movie? Are they going to?
I think so.
Like lock him up or what? Because we know in the comics he's a pretty important character. So
I think it depends, because I am interested to see if they do the comic. They try and adapt some of that comic story in where they can to how he gets to being Red Hulk. And if that's the case, then you have to plan that in the earlier parts of the movie, if not the middle parts. That then, early parts set it up. Middle part is like where he gets pushed to that Red Hulk stuff, and then him becoming Red Hulk could be in the third act and stuff. Then you have to balance like all the Captain America stuff as well. What's happening with Sam and all the political crap and everything.
I will say, out of these four, though, I think this poster is my favorite. The Fandango.
Really?
This either this one, or out of these four specifically, or this one here. I think
go to that one with like the diagonal, like the really vintage one. That's
was it? One. No, I love that poster. I'm talking about these four that we just looked at, though. These four.
Oh, you should have clarified, DJ Erickson.
Yeah, I think this is the best one out of these four. But
no, I like the one with the film for IMAX. If film for IMAX was gone, but then again, you got a stupid Fandango logo sitting there that's ruining that poster.
Well, the good thing is with photo editing apps, you can just take that out. If you
want. No, I'm just going to Fandango and go, hey, can you upload one without that goddamn stupid logo? Thank you.
That's true. That's true. Cody here with the $5 super chat. I know why they're bringing back those characters back. It really is close to the 20th anniversary of the MCU. Oh,
it's what, 3 years away? What movie comes out? None. Well, obviously a movie comes out.
Well, I mean, there's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing.
Not Secret Wars. Then again, Secret Wars would start a mini reboot, and that happens the next year, 20 years after.
I mean, I've said it for a while. Like I think like if you do Secret Wars, if you're rebooting some characters, yes, now is the time to bring them back. Before that happens, properly say goodbye to like this era of the MCU, and then you kind of start fresh post Secret Wars. But also money. The reason's money. Like
money.
I actually think that they're hoping that the new batch of characters ends up being as popular as the OG Avengers they had back in 2012, because then in about 10 years they can do the same thing they're doing right now and bring those characters back for a big group movie. So that's pretty much the way we're looking at it. But I will say this, I think the casting slightly younger in the new iteration is going to be them planning ahead with the MCU, because I do believe if we end up with a very successful 2-part Avengers movies, which is the Doomsday and Secret Wars, which by the way I think they're going to make money whether people love them or not. They're going to figure out a way to bring in younger versions of some of the more popular characters. They don't have to do that with Thor necessarily. I think Chris Hemsworth can play Thor for another decade and it's fine. But characters like Tony Stark or something like that, they could bring in a younger Tony Stark. But I don't know if people are going to accept a younger Tony Stark, and who would you cast for that role if they're putting Robert Downey Jr. in the role of Dr. Doom? I mean, it feels like who's going to replace him at this point, Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Cody. Okay, so we have one more clip here, and then we're going to do like a speed run through some short stories, and then we're going to get to our tier ranking list. But this was an interview here with Anthony Mackie. I thought this was funny. We're only watching this because I thought it was an interesting comment made about the upcoming movie. Have you guys seen this clip yet?
No.
Okay.
Of course I haven't, Eric. Why are you asking?
I wasn't expecting you to see it.
I found out from him. And it was just us like jumping around in a circle, high-fiving like two 12-year-olds that just met Mickey Mouse. So Chris Evans.
He's talking about Chris Evans, by the way.
I did see a part of this clip.
Just met Mickey Mouse.
So Chris Evans told you were going to be Captain America.
Yeah. How was it?
That's my question.
I'm like, how was it? The movie's good. It went well. We were shooting in Atlanta. There was a bunch of us at his house. He had this crazy house. We were sitting there watching a game, shooting shit. It's like paper. It's crazy. So he goes, have you read the new script? I said, no. He's like, you haven't read the... He's like...
I want to point out there is something fun about the fact that Anthony and Chris are actually like friends outside of being Sam and Steve.
You don't know? I'm like, damn. And being black, I'm like, I'm a die. Damn. Oh like they getting rid of me, man. I don't even cause no trouble. I stand in the back like I don't bother nobody, right? So he's like, come on. So we run. He had this house. In his house, he had a trap door that went to a basement that was like a...
wait, hold on.
Whoa, hold on.
Chris Evans has a trap door that leads to a basement. What is happening? Paigey, can you clarify? Is that locked in literally, or is it geeked out?
Didn't John Wayne Gacy have something similar going on?
Oh, there we go. It's that's too far. We went too far there. Okay, let's continue.
Man cave of all man cave. He has all of his like Marvel stuff laid out in his new script.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
All this stuff.
Actually,
I'm like, oh, this is your prep room. Like this is your work room. So he comes down. He gets the new script. He goes to like the last 10 pages and he goes, read it. So me thinking they killed me off, he's just looking at me like, huh? So I get to the part and it's like, I'm reading the scene between us and he goes, he hands him the shield. I'm like, so why'd you give me the shield? He's like, because you're Captain America. Like, what? So literally we hug, we jump up and down, like spit. It was hilarious. Then we go upstairs and watch football, and it was a great time, and I couldn't imagine like finding out any other way.
So that's pretty fun. Yeah, it's just always it's like you can see that looks to me like genuine excitement. Like he was excited when he read the script.
Oh, he loves that character.
Yeah. So
okay, so here's my thing that I think is kind of interesting. They didn't even ask him. They didn't go to him and be like, "Hey, we're setting up the future of the MCU the next 10 years, our new Captain America. Do you want to stick with us for the next 10 years? Do you want to be really like do you want to be the figurehead for the MCU for the next 10 years?" Because that's what that is. Mm-hmm. So I'm shocked that they just wrote in and without having a conversation with him about it. Because what if he didn't want to do it? Like, what if he didn't want to sign on for like a new...
Then they probably would have done Bucky. They would have asked Sebastian if he wanted to do it. Most likely they would have come up with some way. I still think that would have been the wrong choice because I think the Winter Soldier's MCU run would have been rough. I mean, they may have just retired the character altogether if that's the case.
Maybe.
So Michael here is talking about the tone from Guardians of the Galaxy changing sort of the way the MCU is viewed. I don't see this movie as having a ton of humor in it. It's going to have some humor in it because it is an MCU movie, but I don't see it having a ton of humor. The vibe I'm getting from it is that era of Captain America. So we're talking like First Avenger, Winter Soldier, Civil War. That's the vibe I'm getting. And I actually hope the vibe from the Falcon and Winter Soldier carries over into this as well, which is still that phase 1, phase 2 era of
but also still a funny show. Sorry, Theodore, go ahead.
I also think like we're going to get that dry humor that we got in like Winter Soldier, where basically it's situational humor, where basically Captain America jumps off a plane and goes like, "Did he have a parachute?" No.
Right. We also had the joke where the reporter I think was saying that I didn't know they came in red or something like that, or they're red now, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we are going to get some of that humor. But what were you saying, Darren, as well?
No, like I think Falcon and Winter Soldier has like one of the better like comedy balances in the MCU because it is a very serious and Sam's very serious character, but also he's a funny character. Like he's the character that cracks jokes, has fun. He has a good energy about him. And I'm curious how they actually balance that because now he has a new responsibility that he hasn't had prior. He is Captain America, so is he as quippy as he used to be, or are we going to see like a different take on the character a little bit, and maybe have a new Falcon be like the comic relief or whatever?
I will say, like, we've got like glimpses of Sam's humor throughout the MCU, which I think will carry over into this film, where Red Wing jokes, basically he's like, "You like him, don't you? Say hi." And then Black Widow's, "I'm not going to say hi to
him." We have a comment here. Where's it at? Think Noodle left a comment. Where's it at? I saw it. Wait, hold on. Is it gone? Where did it go?
Oh, I deleted it.
Oh yeah, sure. It looks like StreamYard did not save my. I started the comment and it left. Thanks, StreamYard. I appreciate it. Epic. Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. Is Sabra still in the movie? I plan to see it, but a lot of my friends who are casuals refuse to see the movie because she's in it. I feel like that might hurt the movie a lot with boycotts. So this is going to be a very hot take, but I want to be realistic about this.
Yeah.
I don't think that boycott is going to make a massive impact on the movie. Do I think it's going to affect it a little bit? Maybe. Do I think it's going to be massive? No. And I understand if somebody wants to boycott it, I get it. Same thing I've said with every other movie. Like when Flash was coming out, I said the same thing. If you want to boycott it, whatever you personally want to do. I think the character's still in the movie, but now she is a Black Widow. That's what I think they changed. It's part of the story that they changed. Now, I don't know if that was always going to be the plan because we don't know for sure. I mean, we didn't see a lot of her before they made the changes, but I believe she's an ex-Black Widow now, is the storyline they're going with. So,
yeah, no, I mean, simply put, this isn't something people are talking about anymore. Like, obviously, we know about this. We know about what has happened behind the scenes. But really, outside of our personal circles of social media, this is not something that's being talked about anymore. And there might be a couple people now, a handful of people that are like, no, I can't support this movie. I have a friend that's also not supporting the movie because of it, and I totally get that. But I think on large scale, you're right. It unfortunately is not going to make a big impact.
I think there are ways that you can make statements about controversial things that will help. I think this one is going to get so lost. There's just it's like, definitely speak up about what you believe in. I'm always a supporter of that. But I think if your message is getting lost in everything that's going on, because this is a character who's probably not going to have a large role in the movie. So I don't think it's going to be as big a deal as they think it is. I actually think they're changing some of the locations as well, right? They're not. It's not even. I think they changed the third act pretty much.
I mean, it's also important to remember that half, if not like maybe like 80% of the people that said they're going to boycott it are saying that so they get social media.
True.
Like, oh, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but they're going to be fucking first in line with their big bucket of popcorn.
Yeah.
On opening night. Well, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they were just talking shit and they won't see the movie at all. They had no intention.
All right. We have a $2 super chat from Defunct. I don't see the MCU ever fully rebooting. Do you? I don't necessarily think they need to fully reboot. I think the MCU is in a space that the DC EU is not, in the sense that it had a lot of success with a few things that didn't work. So I don't think they have to fully reboot. Plus, they've already established the multiverse. They've established how that works. They can constantly use that if they want to. So I think they have the option of picking and choosing. As far as ever, like fully rebooting ever, I think there maybe 50 years from now they could reboot it. 40 years from now they could reboot it. But I think if they play their cards right and they're really smart about these event movies like they're going to do with Secret Wars, they can keep what they think works and they can get rid of what doesn't work, which is what I think James Gunn is trying to do with the DCU, but I don't think it's going to work as well. I want it to work. I don't think it's going to work as well as the MCU has done.
What I'm seeing, like how I see it, is basically a story. Like, people leave and people come and people go. Like, I don't think it's going to be like a reboot. I think it's story progression.
Okay. What about you, Darren and Paigey?
I mean, they need new jumping off points at least every 15, 20 years, which I think we're about to jump into a new one, right? Like, for all intents and purposes, Secret Wars is going to be our reboot point, right?
And the mutants are going to be the next big thing, probably, in the MCU.
Because we are nearing, and if you count the Netflix stuff, we're already there, 50 MCU projects. You simply cannot expect people who are new to the fandom to be like, I'm gonna catch up with the MCU. What do I have to watch? Well, here's 50, 60, 70 projects you have to get caught up on. Well, it gets more and more by the year. So you need to Doctor Who it. You need to be like, okay, you start here. Here is where you start. This is your new starting point. So yeah, I mean, and I think that's how comic movies should be. I think I know it's a hot take, and I don't know exactly how you do it. I would love another Iron Man movie someday. Yeah. I'd love another, like Steve Rogers movie or Black Widow movie, or these things. These are characters that should not die because someone has already put their take on the character. So eventually, I want them to do like a full reboot. I think that's only natural. I think that's only fair. Like, look how many versions of Superman we love because they kept doing new versions of it.
Right.
So yeah, definitely.
The way I see with Secret Wars is like a story progression. I don't see it as like a reboot because of how it transitions into the story. Basically, we have new characters as the story progresses of the old regiment of Avengers, and we get the new ones. And then the new ones take over. It's like a story progression. It's not like a stop and then reboot and start again.
Paige,
for me,
thoughts on this? Like a full reboot?
Well, it's hard. It's hard because they've got this like new generation in. So like, I think like selective reboot or something where it's just simply maybe just canon wise and they keep the characters. Because I think it's as you were saying before, like I can't remember if it was Darren or something, but I mean, would people take in a new Tony Stark, at least in the next 10 to 15 years? The answer is probably no. Yeah. So if you did do it canon-wise, maybe you could remove Tony Stark's death. Because at that point, like, if we're 10 years removed from Endgame, which we're closer to it than... We're closer to being 10 years away from it than actual Endgame date. People are like, yeah, okay, I'm sort of over that, bring him back. And they could bring back a older Tony Stark if they wanted to. I don't know. Like, I think a full reboot probably is just because the age of characters and stuff. Like Tom Holland can be Spider-Man for the next 10 years, 10, 15 years if they want him to. But then you could use something with his canon where you have Miles Morales coming in. But you might do that in 5 years. And then you don't want to just quickly reboot after introducing Miles Morales. And whatever other characters come afterwards, like the X-Men, for example.
Story progression.
Is that the word of the day? Progression. Do you remember the dictionary?
Basically, it's my favorite word right now.
I would say 3Dub is locked in to story progression.
Yeah,
because like we're explaining, like Miles Morales comes in. I'm like, that's story progression, and then Spider-Man teaches Miles how to be Spider-Man.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be story progression because it just depends if they want to. If you do the quote unquote reboot, it's reboot of the canon, but you keep the characters. But then that's hard because do you want to? But then again, to be honest, I think we can all agree on this. It's not like that. This Tom Holland Spider-Man has the most interesting story.
True.
Over his 3 movies.
Yeah. Shout out to Katie Did, who has some clips for me. You're gonna be making my week. I'll probably have tons of content for the Debunks channel with all those clips. But thank you, I appreciate it. Anyway, all right, so let's move on and talk about something that we kind of saw coming, and that is Moana has now broken the $1 billion sales mark. It's the third Disney release of 2024 to break $1 billion. Man, I guess Disney, it's hurting, right? I mean, it's going down the drain.
So hurting. I mean, it's not making any money. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Third $1 billion movie of 2024.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, that's without any Marvel movies, really. I mean, they did have Deadpool and Wolverine, but no MCU movies, I mean. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. We also had this, talk about this here. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 outruns predecessors at series of $420 million. 420. Mufasa near 600 million worldwide. So I think Mufasa is slowly becoming another somewhat success for them. Clearly not going to do $1 billion. It's probably going to make another 100 million or so on like VOD. But
do you think Disney might Sound of Freedom Mufasa?
What do you mean by that?
Or didn't Santa Fred didn't they like buy the tickets or something and then?
I mean, are you just saying that, or do you have proof that they bought?
Well, no, I'm asking. You're the one that claimed it.
Claim that Mufasa was.
No. That Sound of Freedom did that. Now I'm asking.
I didn't claim that. It's what they did. They sold tickets online.
Also,
they had people buy tickets.
Okay, well, I was going to get you out of it to avoid any sort of legal aspect.
No,
okay.
Do you? You're talking about something you don't even know about. Sound of Freedom had a thing where you could go and buy tickets on a website that never actually went to anyone.
I watched 30 seconds of one of your Woke Mind Virus channel videos.
Oh, right.
I think you said something like that. To be fair, this was like a year and a half ago. So
yes, well, that's why I don't talk about. You bring it up. I don't even talk about.
You want to know my prediction for a future Sonic film?
Yeah,
I think Tom Cruise is going to voice.
I think I'd rather chew on glass than hear a Sonic movie theory, but
I think Tom Cruise will voice Silver.
Wait! A future movie? So, like, how far in the future? Because Tom Cruise is
because Silver is actually from the future, so it's a pun in itself. But I don't know exactly when they would like have the time to use him. But I think if they use him, it's going to be Tom Cruise voicing him because of the name drop in the third one.
Well, wait. By the way, Darren, did you see Sonic 3?
Yeah.
Did you not like it, or did you like it? I forgot what you said about it.
I like some of it. I don't think all of it works. Like, I think that third act is very messy.
Right. And 3W, you did like it, right?
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay, that was. Yeah, I was trying to remember the way that worked or whatever.
Also, like
I was browsing Twitter about a week ago.
Of course you were, yeah.
Of course you were.
And I was on the For You page, and a certain tweet from Geek Drums or Geek _ Drums. I don't know. It's one of them. Lance Ringgold is his name.
Oh, that person, yeah.
He sometimes appears on stream here. Ooh. It was his Letterboxd account. I went, okay, let me click on this. I don't use it. I have an account, but I don't use it. So I clicked on it. He gave Sonic 5 stars. I proceeded to type up an angry message at Lance, but did not send it.
Oh, okay.
It was very abusive.
Yeah.
I think mine was like 4.5.
Here's the last sort of quick story on Twitter before we move over to the ranking. But Tom Holland is going to be the lead in the Odyssey. And these are the other reported cast members: Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, Lupita Nyong'o, and Robert Pattinson.
It's just weird. Like, I'm surprised, unless it's like a different, like, really, because a lot of people thought Matt Damon was going to be the lead character because he'd play Odysseus. So it is sort of weird. And Tom Holland would play his son. And they're both, like, you know, relevant characters in it. Yeah, it's interesting.
What do you think? What do you think of this lineup, guys? I'm just curious. Like, this is.
Well, I think it's Nolan. He was never going to cast, like, I don't know, who's a bum.
I don't know.
I don't know, Steven Seagal. He wasn't going to cast Steven Seagal or something like that. So,
right.
It's always going to be a decent. I'm just interested to see the context of it because I have a feeling he's not going to do it in ancient Greece. I think he's going to do like a very Nolan type thing, maybe set it in modern day. Or something like that. Like, he might do it. He might say just like full-on ancient Greece and stuff, but they did say it's an adaptation of the Odyssey. So that can mean
that leaves the door open for whatever he decides he wants to do.
Yeah, because there's various adaptations of the Odyssey. Like,
yeah,
in like they do in like, you know, a World War II context or something like that. So yeah.
Serenity says, "I love the Odyssey, but I loathe Nolan, so I have mixed feelings about this."
So the picture is very small, but is that she from Black Panther? You know, T'Challa's girlfriend or whatever?
Yeah, Anne Hathaway. Yeah.
No, I think her name is Lupita.
Yes, that is her.
Yeah.
I just read them out.
Yeah, Tom Holland as Odysseus. That's.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird.
Yeah.
But if it's an adaptation and stuff like that, where you place it in a different, it's not in ancient Greece and stuff, it might work. It's just that Matt Damon seemed like he was going to be playing Odysseus, but that was, I think, when people thought it was going to be like full on ancient Greece and stuff.
I mean, good for him. Like he's. I think he needs a character like that to kind of.
Well, you know what he needs? He needs a role where it's a bit more like nuanced. You know what I mean? It's not, there's actually like no offense to the Spider-Man stuff, but it's like he's meant to be playing a teenage kid.
He needs a role where he's locked in. Basically.
Well, yeah, locked in. Like, no, he's not necessarily geeked out all the time. You know what he was geeked out in that Apple show where he was it Apple or something, and he turns into like a male prostitute or something?
It was Apple. Yeah, that was Apple TV.
Yeah, he was geeked out. He was definitely not locked in there. He was not locked in.
Cody with the $5 super chat says Sonic 3 has the date it does for a reason. It's the same date as Sonic Adventures 2 game release date in the early. Really? That's deep. That's like a deep cut. Like I had no idea that they even thought about that. Like, is that just by chance or is that something they planned, Cody?
They have a lot of oh god, sorry.
No, you go. I was gonna say something stupid. Nick and White.
No, I mean they have like a lot of like Easter eggs. So, like it feels like those writers and at least the like marketing team love the Sonic franchise. Like you cannot take that away from them. That like they are fans of what they are making, even if I don't love all of it.
And PG loves none of it.
Cody says they planned it. That's pretty cool. So.
Why are they playing what?
The release date for the.
Okay. Apparently, he wasn't a male prostitute. He just hooked up with a dude at the club and was.
Yes, I never watched it, so I don't know.
Okay, I just saw a clip on Twitter and he looked like a male prostitute. So maybe that's me judging a book by its cover.
That was him being locked in and not.
Well, mate, he must have been locked in because he was very convincing.
Did Tom Holland forget buttons or something?
No, that's what it is. All right, so here we go. It is time for our ranking, and what we're going to do is. We are going to see what the chat has decided. This is your countdown. We have 53 votes, but we have over 100 people watching over 2 channels. So if you are on the Debunks channel and you would like to vote on this poll, you have to come to the Reloaded channel and vote. I'm going to give them another minute. What are we voting on what the criteria is for this tier list. Oh. So here's the options for criteria that I gave them. The most basic one, which is power levels. We could rank them on what we think their power levels are. Whether or not they could survive a zombie apocalypse. This next one was really fun. Worst possible roommate. So which ones you would not want to be roommates with. And the last one is wasted potential in the MCU.
Yeah. Make it the roommate one. That sounds fun. Can people vote for that one?
Well, I'm giving them a chance to do that.
Everyone lock in, please.
So, so these are the ones we have. This is most of the main characters through Endgame. So everybody's saying worst roommates. Vote on if you guys want roommates. Vote on it. You got another minute.
Well, here's the thing: if we're not going to get to the, I'm assuming you must have had a roommate when you're in New York, Eric.
I had several roommates when I was in New York. Yes.
Yeah, what? Several in the one place, like.
Yeah, because nobody paid their fucking rent. So yeah, I went through several.
Okay, what's your number one worst roommate story from your time in New York? I've got a horror one in regards to a roommate that I had.
Well, it's a very quick one. I had a roommate that. Okay, so we had a loft apartment. I don't know if people know what that is, but in New York, basically, you get a big room with no walls, no nothing, and we had these facades up, which blocked off parts of the room, so everybody had their own little sleeping area. And we had this one roommate, because it was 3 of us there, who, because the shower and the sink and the toilet were all off in a corner, and it had a facade in front of it, so like if you were in there, you could go in and you were private, blocked off from everybody else. They would always move the fucking facade because they said the steam would mess the mirror up. So they're just walking around wearing nothing all the fucking time while we have people over and shit. It was really annoying. Worst roommate ever. So glad they left, because that was bad. It was obnoxious, really.
Mine's kind of similar, because my second roommate back in 2015 was a couple in a studio apartment. Not a good idea. Not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to dip.
Okay.
You guys have fun on the.
I see you dozing, Darren. So go get some sleep.
I'm like, I better take this opportunity.
Okay. We'll see you next time. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think I might have the worst one.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Okay. So this is the second roommate I ever had, and it was me moving into their place for about 3 months, and then 3 months to stay somewhere. and they'd use both bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they moved some stuff out into mine, but they said not to use one side of the wardrobe. And I was like, so it's like it had like two sides. You could slide one. I put my stuff, and they said don't use that, and also don't like look at it and stuff like that. As I'm moving out, so this goes on for 3 months, and I always thought like the room smelt a bit weird, but I was like, okay, whatever. It's just you go into a house and it's just not your place. And it has different smells like all that, and I just never adjusted to that. Clearly, they must have used the room I was in maybe as their bedroom before as like some sort of office. It was in the other wardrobe, the other side of the wardrobe, and it's fucking ridiculous that it was in there the entire time I was in there, and they thought maybe I should move that. Bottles of piss.
What?
They pissed in like bottles. Like it was like some weird. I think it's like an issue or something, like people like pee in bottles. They have like a thing for it or something like that, and they stored it in that room. I was living in a room with bottles of piss, and it's disgusting.
That was Grandma's thing.
That's gross.
If he was selling it, he must have been trying to like let it like ferment like a fine wine or something like that.
Ugh.
It was disgusting. I remember that when the day I saw it, I was like, "This is ridiculous." Thank God I was moving out at that time.
Well,
that
congratulations.
Really
we lost like 15 viewers after that story. So.
Defunct. Oh yeah, I had a housemate with a fetish for pee, and he collected it in jars.
Oh, gross. All right.
What is it? Must be. Is there like what's it like? Peeing in bottles fetish.
Let's move on. I don't want to talk about that. That's gross. It's gonna make me sick. So.
What are you imagining it?
No, I just don't even want to, like, that's just a topic that literally is not something I want to talk about on stream. All right. So,
you're a funny man, Eric.
We have had enough people voting here. Let's end the poll and see what people chose. Ending poll now. All right. So, it looks like, Paigey, your worst roommate wasn't even number 2 on the poll. At the very bottom, we had 5% zombie apocalypse survivors. Worst roommates was 16% of the vote, which we can still do that at some point. Power levels was 36%, and wasted potential was 41%. So basically, the way it's going to work is S tier.
So what one?
Wasted potential, like characters that could have been better than what they were in the MCU. So, and this can be whatever your personal criteria is. I'm going to sort of base it on their stories in the MCU, not necessarily just their comic book characters. Because a lot of these characters are so different from the versions in the comic books. I don't know if you can even compare them. And some of them don't even have like a proper like one-to-one comparison. So, all right.
I'll be back in 2 seconds. I just need to turn on my air conditioner.
Okay. All right. So, 3W, you understand what the criteria is? Like,
can you say it like one more time?
So basically, the S tier is going to be the characters that weren't great in the MCU.
Okay.
Like they just didn't do very well through their time in the MCU up until Endgame. And D tier is the ones that were perfect. I know it's the opposite of the way it would normally be, but it's because if they did really good, then they're not going to be at the top of the list because that would be the opposite of wasted potential. So, All right. Let's start out with someone that I think, in terms of their storyline from start to finish, was not wasted. And that's going to be Iron Man. I think Iron Man was literally, we're going to put him in the bottom level, which is I don't think he had wasted potential. I think Iron Man was
I mean, there's another form of wasted, but
well, yeah, but this is up to Endgame. So it's at the end of Endgame. So we're not talking about like what the MCU looks like after Endgame. We're talking about
why is he from
because you missed the whole explanation.
Yeah, he left. Remember, to turn his AC.
Wasted potential would be S because those are the characters with the most wasted potential.
Oh, so shittest S for shit.
Yes, pretty much.
D for done good.
Yeah, it's the opposite. So
C for cool. B for
wait. Let me just. Would it be easier? Chat, chime in on this. Would it be easier to do it the other way? Put wasted at the bottom and put the best at the top, because I feel like I think everybody's going to get confused if we do it the other way.
Yeah, flip it around. S for spectacular.
D for worst, right?
Dog
like
shit.
wasted potential.
S for green.
Should we flip it around? Is it too confusing this way? I think it is going to be too confusing this way. So, all right. So let's do it.
The maestro said no, so that means yes. I'm joking.
Also, change the color to green because red means bad.
No.
Oh my God. Okay, we're gonna do it the way I had it. We're gonna do it the way I had it before. All right. All right. We're gonna jump around here. I was gonna do. We'll do all the OG Avengers first, and then we'll move on to other characters. So Thor's potential. Now I have some thoughts on Thor because I think all the way up until Infinity War, he was a pretty great character. Like, I don't have much complaints about him. I actually think he really, really shined a lot in Infinity War when he came in to save the day and everybody was waiting for him. He was like essentially the Superman, for lack of better terms, of the MCU. I think that he dropped the ball in Endgame because I did not like his storyline in Endgame, and I don't think he got better after Endgame. But we're not talking about after Endgame. We're talking specifically about Endgame being the bookend to this particular conversation. So for me, I think Thor was like 90% good, no wasted potential at all, but not at where Iron Man is, because I think he was one movie away from me. So I'm going to put him in C. I think he was good almost all the way till the end. What do you think? Do you think it's more mid, or do you think, because I know a lot of people didn't like the second Thor movie, so I think people would argue
you
that
loved it.
I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it, but
I've heard the term love being used previously.
There's three of us here, so there's clearly tie breaking that can happen. So where will we put Thor? Was he good enough to be in C, which is almost best in this list, or is he more in the middle of the road based on your guys' opinions?
I think he was like 90% best, like what you said. Okay. There was a downgrade, but that comes later. So
I think the downgrade starts in Endgame for him, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and also Love and Thunder.
But that's after Endgame. I'm saying that it's Endgame is the end. So there's no point in us talking about what happens after that. That is the end point for this conversation.
Yeah, I didn't like his story in Endgame. I liked it better in Infinity War, though.
So Defunct, that's the thing, is I feel like from Infinity War to Endgame, his character changed too much, in my opinion.
You know why?
Why?
It's because he got addicted to Fortnite.
That's true. That is true. Does anybody want to move him somewhere else, or we feel like C is
well, my vote doesn't matter because you and 3Dub said say.
Yeah, so but you can still say. You can still.
I'll say S. I'll say S. I'll say he's so ass. It's not even funny because the vote doesn't matter.
All right, let's go to Black Widow. Okay, so this is a really important thing for me because I think Black Widow. And I know it happened after Endgame, but we have to be very clear here. I think Black Widow should have had a movie before Endgame. I think Black Widow should have had a movie in like phase 2. So to me, that's like perfect missed opportunity, in my opinion.
I kind of wanted her movie to be about the extraction from Hawkeye, basically the whole story.
Their team up movie?
Yeah, basically that. I kind of wanted to be filled in. I didn't like that it wasn't. And I felt like there was a whole story missing.
I honestly think we should have had one or maybe 2 Black Widow movies before we ever got to Infinity War, in my opinion. So I'm going to put her in A because I think that she does have a lot of really strong
A for Avengers.
But I think the fact that she did not get a solo movie or any sort of major storyline outside of the stuff she got, in Avengers Age of Ultron, I think that sort of sucks. I think that like her appearance in Iron Man set up what the character could have been, and then they just slept on her for too long, and that's why we got a prequel movie about Black Widow, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put her in A. Do you agree, 3Dub?
Yes.
Okay, Paigey, what are your thoughts on this? I know you say it doesn't matter if you change your mind or not, but do you agree with my statements or?
I'd probably say she's B.
Okay. And why would you put her in B? Because you could change my mind. Like, you could totally convince me.
I thought she was like middle of the road.
So the not having a movie wasn't a massive problem for you?
I agree. The movie should have been after Age of Ultron when they do those weird vision things. But yeah, like I don't think she was in the lower half of things.
I will say, like, her hairstyles through the years were whiplash. Like
she was a spy, so she changed her hair a lot.
1 minute it's long and like hot, and the next it's like hot and short.
Yeah. All right. Let's go with Captain America. I think Captain America's storyline from start to finish is up there with Iron Man. I don't think there's a lot. I don't think there's a lot to change from him. I think he had a pretty solid story all the way through, without a lot of issues.
For me, his progression was like solid. Like he basically was learning as he was in this new era of present. Like his whole story was him like learning how to maneuver in the 2020 whatever.
Yeah. Paige, what about you?
Yeah, though his team on Civil War was ass.
Well, he was on the bad side.
Yeah, hence ass.
It was America's ass, you know.
Yeah. So you know what? This is kind of lining up with what Paige is saying here. Is I think his third movie was like an Avengers movie. It was
Avengers 2.5. Yeah.
I could see that. So I'm still going to leave him in D. I could be convinced otherwise, but 3Dub, do you think he should move down because of that, or would you leave him at D?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would say that. I would say because of that.
Okay, so you would move him down one because of his third movie not really.
Yeah, it was a downgrade instead of an upgrade.
So, all right. So let's do that. We will, because I've been overruled for now. For now, things may change.
Now.
All right, let's go. Where are we at? OG Avengers. All right, so we're gonna put Bruce Banner and Hulk together. I don't.
Why are they different?
Why is Smart Hulk here?
Because I think they're separating them.
That's not Smart Hulk. That's deleted Endgame scene Hulk.
Oh, okay.
It is actually, but we'll might leave him there. I'll see. Maybe there's an argument about that to have later on. But I would say because the reason why they're separated here is I think Bruce Banner has a better storyline than Hulk does. To be quite honest. Like, I think Bruce Banner's storyline is better than what we got with Hulk after Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
I would say Hulk honestly belongs in S tier. Only because literally they did nothing with him, really.
Someone's going to come across this straight. Has anyone joined the past 2 minutes? I have no idea what this is about and going, is Eric cooked in their head? Why is Iron Man D? Hulk and A? Or Hulk and S?
Do we disagree? Do you think Hulk got good treatment in the MCU or no? I mean, I feel like he's at least an A, probably S.
Yeah, but I don't think Bruce Banner's that high. TBH.
I'm not leaving him there. I'm just talking about Hulk right now.
No. I mean, I don't think he's that good.
Oh, got you. Okay.
So I would probably have him in B or A, and I don't know if Hulk is S. Probably would Hulk and A.
So what in Hulk's storyline did you like that we got in the MCU?
Well, I liked in the stuff really in the Incredible Hulk movie, really.
Right.
And I think that does enough good work to not put it in S.
Okay.
I actually
after that, it's not that great, but I think that movie does enough to not put it in S.
I would argue that Hulk was good in the first Avengers movie too. To be honest, I don't really have an issue with him in that movie either.
I actually like that. He felt like a different persona that everyone acknowledged. Like Steve didn't say Bruce smash. He said Hulk.
Right. Well, we're going to talk about Bruce here in a second, but I would say Hulk might move up to A only because I think 2 of the movies that he was in were As far as Bruce goes, I think Bruce might be middle of the road for me because I think he had good storylines as Bruce. Of course, he contributed to a lot of the important stuff that happened over the years. But I don't know what else they could have done with him. I do feel like they were missing something, but I don't know what they could have done to fix that.
Edward Norton?
I don't think Edward Norton would have worked in the MCU.
No. I'm just like he was missing an entire like other physique.
Yeah.
But really, how I saw 2008 versus Avengers, it felt like a downgrade. That I was getting a downgrade because of how I liked the Incredible Hulk, though how he was like the CGI of the Hulk felt muscular, felt like a bodybuilder, and then we get this Hulk. I felt like a downgrade.
Okay.
Like compared
we're still talking about Bruce Banner though.
Yeah.
We've already ranked Hulk. I was trying to get your answer
I was summing up Bruce Banner too.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a downgrade.
Okay, so Bruce Banner felt like a downgrade to you as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Paige, would you put him in B or
no? What, Bruce?
Yeah, would you leave him in the middle or would you move him somewhere else?
Yeah, I'd probably just leave him where he is. He can.
Okay. So this begs the question: does Thor belong next to Captain America, or does he belong where Bruce is?
Nah, Thor's better than Bruce.
Okay.
Yeah, Thor's better than Bruce.
That's what I thought. Just want to double check. All right, Nick Fury.
I mean, what's Nick Fury's potential? Like,
I mean, I think Nick Fury was used as best as he could possibly be used in the game, in the movies, all the way up to Endgame. I don't think there's much else they could have done. I don't think we needed a separate Nick Fury movie. We got him with Captain Marvel, which is fine. But I think for me, I'm going to put him up here with Tony because I just don't see anything else they could have done with Nick Fury. I don't think there was a lot of missed opportunities for him. I mean, look, he got his own show. See what happened with that show. So,
but that was after Endgame.
No, it was. But I'm saying, like, if you look at that as the possibility of what he would have had prior to Endgame, it makes me think, like, do we really want a separate Nick Fury project? And I would say, based on that, probably not.
Little baby.
War Machine. What do we think about War Machine? Keep in mind, he went with the Iron Patriot storyline. We had that with him. Rhodey lost the ability to walk. There was a lot of stuff that happened. I know what happens after.
I'm like,
all that.
He's lucky. He's so lucky.
I understand. I get it. But did War Machine deserve anything extra? Basically, with missed opportunities, I mean, would there have been any benefit to giving War Machine more than what he already had in the MCU?
No, I think he's under Iron Man, but not above Iron Man. I think he's like a C.
Wait. He's above Iron Man?
No, I said he's not above Iron Man.
Oh,
he's
well, I hope
Iron
not
Man.
because there's no ranking above Iron Man. So, but I get it.
Okay. But yeah, like trying to like separate this is kind of hard for me because I'm like the entire story of him just like went down the drain.
Well, think of it this way, okay? This is probably the easiest way to do it. Would you have wanted to see something more from these characters than what we got in the MCU? That's really what it comes down to. Do you think there was more benefit to them getting more things? And I think with War Machine, I think we got everything we could possibly get from him. I don't think there's anything more that we would have benefited from seeing War Machine and anything. So for me, I'm going to put him in this list here up at the top. What are you laughing about? What's funny?
I don't know. I just didn't think you were going there. For some reason, I thought
where else would we put him? Do we feel like there was a missed opportunity with him? I don't think there was.
I don't know.
I feel like he had a pretty solid storyline all the way from the beginning. I mean, they did change actors, but I think War Machine as a character did everything he needed to do.
Yeah, I know you were distraught when they changed the actors as well. Yeah,
next time, baby.
Yeah. All right. So
that was a missed opportunity.
What about Falcon before Endgame?
That's a D. That's a D.
D as in like you didn't want to see any more from him. You got everything you needed.
Well, okay, never mind. Well, I obviously want to see more of him now.
Yes, we're talking about. I keep having to describe what we're grading this on. I feel like I've been very forthcoming about this. Are these characters missing something up until Endgame, or do you think they had a good storyline in those 3 phases? That's all it is. So I think War Machine had a good storyline. I don't think there's anything else we needed from War Machine. I don't think he was underused at all. I think he was used perfectly. So I don't really have any complaints. So I'm putting him at the bottom of the list because I feel like he did really well in those movies.
Yeah, I think there was something missing with Sam Wilson and the leading up to Avengers Endgame. I think there should have been like breadcrumbs of him being a leader, in my opinion.
So you would have wanted to see more of him like taking charge and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
okay.
Obviously, like if he doesn't agree with Captain America, speak up.
Okay.
I would have liked to see that.
All right, Paige, do you think we needed like a War Machine movie or anything like that, or you think it was good the way it was?
Do you mean Falcon?
Oh, that's right. We're on Anthony Mackie. Got it. All right, Falcon. Yes.
Wow.
I think he's
I don't know why I was staring right at War Machine's picture when I was talking. I don't know why. Anyway, go ahead. There. Well, I'm looking at War Machine. War Machine is gray. So
you know what War Machine looks like in that photo there?
What?
The locked-in alien.
Oh, well, maybe there's a similarity.
Well, he isn't D, so apparently he was. Eric low key being right. I don't think it's low key. It could be actually high key to be.
Oh, is it high key? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. High key, or at least mid key. Speaking of mid key, I thought we could Falcon it like B or C.
Yeah, I would say C for me because I think that there was a lot of opportunities to set him up for bigger things. I don't know if I would have wanted a separate like Falcon movie, but I could have seen him being more prominent in the Captain America stuff.
Have you, just in a bit of a break while we're in between Falcon and whoever's next, has anyone got that SpongeBob song stuck in their head?
No.
Gary hit him with, you know the crab like money. Yeah, anyone, it's brain rot, so you might not have.
Yeah, I don't get brain rot.
Haven't heard it?
Head, so.
I'm surprised no one's asked you to play. Oh, you have heard it?
Before. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm surprised. I thought someone at the club might have come today, play that SpongeBob. Play that fresh SpongeBob.
So I know that this is Ronin, but this is Hawkeye, basically.
I think it's just meant to be Hawkeye, isn't it?
It is, but it's the Ronin suit, I believe. I'm going to stick him in the same category with these two, only because I think he got some solid stuff. But like when 3Dub was talking about seeing the storyline with him and Black Widow, I feel like that's a big thing they could have done, and they just didn't do it. So I would put him down there. I don't think we needed a separate Hawkeye movie, but I think a movie with him and Black Widow would have been a good movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anybody disagree with that ranking?
Yeah.
Or
I agree.
Okay. So, all right. What do we got here? It's like OG Avengers. I guess we could do Hulkbuster. I think Hulkbuster.
So fucking shit.
Yeah, it only was like there for that. For what was it? Age of Ultron. It was just there for that, and then in what is it?
Infinity War. In Infinity War.
Yeah, Hulkbuster should have been better, a lot better. So
you know the meme that went around with Hulkbuster. The reason why they were fighting is because apparently, Mark Ruffalo had a scene with Pepper Potts, the actress, in another movie, kissing her, and there's a meme about that.
Wait, when did that happen?
Apparently, Mark Ruffalo and the Pepper Potts actress had a movie together, and they were kissing in that movie. And
I think it was Mark Ruffalo, but not Gwyneth Paltrow.
It was some sort of chick flick movie. I'm not
entirely
sure what it was called.
I don't remember it. But yeah, I'll look it up later. All right, so
I can confirm Eric will not be looking that up.
No, I don't remember it.
I'll look it up real quick. while you're.
No, that's okay. That's all right. You don't have to.
See, now we can confirm it.
No, I would like to focus on getting through the ranking.
It's okay.
Everything keeps going sideways, so let's focus on the ranking. All right, so let's do Vision.
Well, this one's a tough one.
I don't think they could have done anything more with Vision, to be honest.
Well, next Avengers felt like something they could have done.
I mean, maybe. I feel like Vision.
Well, no, because he was pretty. I mean, he's probably B. I don't know, was C maybe.
I would say C or D. I mean,
probably could have done more with him, but at the same time, he's too OP. I think if you really want to do a lot with him.
Like, to be quite honest, if he wouldn't have been, God, how am I going to put this? If he wouldn't have been hurt so quickly in Infinity War, with his
head got ripped out.
Well,
I like how you say hurt. You mean kill?
No. I'm talking before that, not at the end. At the beginning, he got stabbed at the beginning.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got stabbed.
When the Black Order came looking for him, he got stabbed and hurt, and then he couldn't fight at full power.
And he couldn't phase, apparently.
Right.
I can't remember that shit.
Because okay, so I know that we're not talking about anything after Endgame in terms of quality or whatever, but if you saw the What If, and I know Paige, you didn't see it, but if you saw the recent What If episodes, there was an episode where Vision was being used as a weapon to hunt down heroes, and he was literally unstoppable because he can phase through things, and he's extremely strong. He's extremely powerful. And so if Vision would have been available to fight at full power during Infinity War, the battle would have went a very different direction. So there was wasted opportunity there in terms of him having the ability to fight. So
also, I felt like they nerfed him in Civil War. Like, all he did was draw a line in the road.
I think the reason why they did that is because they were trying to show that he was holding back on purpose.
I felt like it was to make WandaVision more powerful than him.
Maybe. Well, technically, Wanda as a Scarlet Witch is as powerful as Vision would be, but more powerful technically because she can warp reality. But yeah, I if you looked at the lineup, somebody showed the picture of the two teams together, like facing off against each other, and they were like, "This is so one-sided." Like, literally, if you look at the teams, it's like you have one team that has Vision on it, and you have one team that has Scarlet Witch on it, because those were the two most powerful characters there. Because Thor wasn't in the battle at all, so it really was like balancing it out. Anyway,
he would just come down and in fight.
Yeah. No, I think Vision definitely had some wasted potential, but I think they did a lot with him. Let's see, who do we have left from the OG? I guess we're moving into the new era Avengers here a little bit. Let's do Scarlet Witch. Up until Endgame, she was just basically a telekinetic character with a little bit of
To be honest, she was pretty fucking ass up to Endgame.
Yeah, I mean,
really after that she got the stuff.
Well, actually, when she faced off against Thanos, finally, that's when it was really oh yeah, she's really powerful.
She lost
they tried to downplay her a little bit. So,
she lost her Russian.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, she did. I remember that. I'm gonna leave her in the middle. Do you think she goes lower than B?
It's like a B split. It definitely wasn't S poo, but
yeah,
it's somewhere A B. The stuff with Infinity War probably saves her.
Quicksilver,
well,
literally S tier.
Well, I would say his progression was an upgrade. He was a bad guy and then turned good and then died. So I mean, he was a dead-end hero.
No, I mean this is if we're talking about, I'll be honest here, looking at the lineup we have left here, if we're talking about missed opportunities, he might be the poster child.
Yeah, okay, yeah. He had
because
a lot of missed
because they
opportunities.
introduced him and then killed him off with giving him maybe 20 minutes of screen time, if that.
I honestly totally forgot that we're doing missed opportunities, and
yeah,
I was talking about I was doing his story progression of how his story went, and I was fine with it.
Did you have Chinese for lunch? Fair enough. You get a fortune cookie.
Say like maybe there's something
about the progression or story for.
But I would say Quicksilver to me is in that same boat as Hulkbuster, where they were like, we want to do something because fans want to see it, but then we're going to immediately fumble the bag on it. Because we're talking about a speedster, which, by the way, he's not connected to the Speed Force, but speedsters are broken irregardless.
Mm-hmm.
So him dying because he wasn't fast enough to outrun something was crazy. The way it happened was crazy. So for me, he's the poster child of missed opportunity.
And that line he dropped wasn't like, you didn't see that coming. And then down he goes. Because we never saw it coming, literally. We thought he was fast enough.
You know the sponge like fun. Mm-hmm. Got a song.
Paigey, would you? I'm assuming you're not going to disagree with me on this one, right?
What with Quicksilver?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to pin this message.
I do love your use of the term poster child.
Why?
In regards to that, it's just usually you don't come up with those good titles.
Oh well, yeah.
Finally, Jason with a good comment.
Look, Jason said he made up with it for Craven though. No, he did not.
Thank you.
Definitely did not. I know 3
I'm with him.
Movie, so, yeah. Oh, this is a tough one. I want to do Doctor Strange next. Paigey did not like the second movie, right? You didn't like Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange.
I don't mind it. I thought probably the entire movie was arguably a missed opportunity. I didn't mind the ending, and I just didn't like that middle bit where they sort of go multiverse with it. Like, I think the Illuminati bit in that movie is the worst part of the movie.
Well, my only gripe for the movie is actually the villain, not him specifically. So,
okay. Well, him as a character, I think he belongs in C, only because he did a lot. He's done a lot up until Endgame. But I feel like there's just a few things here and there they could have done to make it work a little bit more. Yeah, I think he's in C, right? Would you put him lower than that, or?
I'll put him in C.
Okay. All right. With Bucky here, I think Bucky, for me, Winter Soldier, I'm going to put him... I guess I have to put him in C as well with Captain America because he was part of the Civil War movie. Mm-hmm. But I think he's a little bit stronger in terms of his character not having a lot of missed opportunities. I think they've done a lot with him since Endgame, and they did a lot with him before Endgame, in my opinion. Would you disagree with that?
Yeah, I think they did a lot with him, but also it felt like sprinkles. Because I think he was only in Captain America movies.
Well, yeah, because I don't think you would get a separate Winter Soldier movie. I think having him as the tagline for the second film was about as far as you're going to go with that. I don't think they would have given him a movie, which is why I say I would put him in C, only because I think they might have done a little bit more with him in Civil War. Because Civil War was a movie where it wasn't really a Captain America movie. It was like an Avengers movie. And then he was sort of adjacent to the Avengers. He was great in that movie. I think he was one of the best things in that movie. But I still think they kind of dropped the ball on fleshing him out prior to Endgame. After Endgame, they've done a lot with him. But prior to Endgame, not so much.
I also think he was he played a role just like Cecile in The Flash. Like, he was a plot device.
Wait.
You're
comparing the Winter Soldier's crap.
Bucky in Civil War was a plot device. It was the only way to piss off Iron Man.
I don't think
because he's a kid.
So you're saying he wasn't a character in that movie?
No, he was a character, but he felt his story arc in that movie felt like a plot device to move the story along.
Well, it was. Yeah, but that's part of this. That's the story.
No, he was the utensil used by Baron Zemo.
Yeah,
so it wasn't a plot device.
But that was part of the movie. Like, it wasn't like
part of the story.
Yeah, he was literally being used by a character in the movie. That was the story of the movie.
I felt like it should have been like hinted at before then, because it felt like it was just for that movie.
But it
Like,
was.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I get
In
it.
Winter
but
Soldier,
I mean,
they said he had assassinated like X amount of people and stuff like that. Like it was hinted at that he had been used and brainwashed. I'm trying to see the comparison to Cecile, because Cecile's issue, and I know this is completely sideways from what we're talking about, but Cecile's issue was that they would give her powers in the show to make things happen that didn't make a lot of sense for her character, where she would go from like empathy to telekinesis to mind reading to all these things. Bucky was never changed in that way to make something happen. His storyline was consistent when he was reintroduced as the Winter Soldier.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like
it
felt like his story, like when he should have been fleshed out a little bit before, to where in Winter Soldier, where he there was a scene of him killing someone, and then it be shown in the Civil War that it was Tony Stark's parents.
Oh, you mean like teasing that he had killed Tony Stark's parents prior to Civil War?
Yes, because it felt
but wouldn't that have ruined the surprise?
No, not necessarily, because they don't show the faces. But it felt like that story just like randomly happened for that movie, so it would piss off Tony Stark and have him against Captain America.
Okay, so you would put him further. You put him further down than C.
No, he's still C. But
okay, all right, okay.
I felt like that was like.
Thoughts on
I was gonna say, I mean, to me, that felt like a decent, and to quote Three-Dub, story progression, saying it was a Captain America movie, following on from Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
You're right. Well, the question is, Paigey, would you move him up or down, or is C the spot where you would put him?
Probably fine where he is. I mean, if you're using like post-end game, then maybe he edges up, #goons up to D. Like
right. All right, so we are moving briskly along. Black Panther, we're talking up until Endgame, right? I think Black Panther... Yeah. Go ahead, Paige. You start what you're going to say. I'll let you go first.
Oh, well, I was going to say, well, I mean, Endgame's where it ends anyway, but, I mean, I don't think you can do D with him. What do you see?
So you're thinking that you felt there was something a little bit lacking from what they did with him in the
I mean, it just felt like there was there's just more, especially like if you think about like him personally as like T'Challa as well, and the responsibilities and stuff like that, which I think would have been explored in a sequel and stuff like that with him.
I really liked his storyline, but I kind of see what you're saying. Like not being present as Black Panther, but being around as T'Challa is what you're saying.
Yeah, especially like but that would have been post Endgame anyway.
So would you say like a solid C then for Black
solid
Panther?
C? Yeah, like probably like a
3
high C.
Any thoughts on that?
I want to give him a D. Like I felt like his like. That's all I wanted to see of him as when he was living, but I hoped he could do more. Mm-hmm. So,
Anthony says Black Panther was C, but was headed to D. So I guess that makes sense. Let's see. Let's go with Ant-Man.
AS.
What, you think he had missed opportunity? Ant-Man?
Yeah.
So you would put him in the same level with Hulkbuster and Quicksilver?
Yeah.
I
don't feel like that at all. I feel like I think
he's. I was gonna say, if anything, Ant-Man's probably a C or a D.
5 years.
But you got a fucking trilogy. No one thought Ant-Man even deserved a movie, let alone a trilogy.
So I would say that I think, because we got to remember, Ant-Man wasn't like around a lot. Like they tried to use him as much as they could because he was brought in sort of towards the end of the phase. I think Ant-Man came out in the end of phase 2, right?
It came out. It was the movie before Civil War, wasn't it?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Was it the movie after Civil War? No, before, because he was in Civil War.
Yeah. So I mean, if we're talking about the stuff for Endgame, he was a big part of Endgame as well, like leading into Endgame.
No, the rat was.
I'm gonna say like B for me. I want to leave him in B, but you said A or S, 3Dub?
No, I think it's A. Like I wanted to see more of him. I didn't want.
Right.
I honestly, I felt underwhelmed with the third
Right.
movie.
Okay, Paige, were you thinking like B or C or D? What were you thinking?
I was thinking, yeah, like C or D. Like, what more progression do you want with the character?
I mean, I think he could have been used in other ways. Like they could have brought him in and used him in more ways in the group movies, but
And in small ways.
yeah, I don't know. I actually think I'm going to lean into Pagey a little bit here and do a C, only because he twisted my arm, not literally.
Bullied you.
So, all right. So now we're coming into the characters that were not, I guess, outside of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Yeah.
I looked at the ancient one and thought it was James Gunn for a second. I have no idea.
Oh my god. So I looked at the file. This was listed as M'Baku, but it doesn't look like M'Baku.
That's
Thor's
Heimdall.
Yeah, I thought it was Heimdall, but the actual thing said M'Baku.png, and I was like,
so maybe the person who made this was more racist than you were.
Maybe. I like Heimdall's story, to be honest. Could they have done more with Heimdall? I mean, maybe.
I mean, it was just like a door gate dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I liked him, but I mean, I feel like if they did any more with him, it would have. I mean, he was like the refugee leader and stuff like that when all the drama went down, in Ragnarok. But I don't know if they could have done any more.
Secondary. He felt like
But I think he was supposed to be secondary. I don't think he's supposed to be like a main character. Okay, I'm going to step back and let you guys. Where would you put Heimdall?
B.
Okay. Paige.
You know what? C's getting a bit too much. It's getting a bit clogged. C for clogged. I'm going to go D for deserted.
So do you think that he was good enough to, like, there's nothing more they could have done with him?
Well, what more could you have done with it? I think there's probably a reason they killed him off.
Well, we've got his kid now. So
yeah, speaking of floating heads.
Yeah.
D.
What, you changed from B to D?
I was thinking mid character.
Right.
I wasn't thinking of in stories.
Let's do a quick lightning round of some characters here. Let's do Valkyrie. I think Valkyrie was fine. I'm going to put her in. I don't see any issue with her storyline, to be honest. Wong, probably one of the best ones, so we're going to put him in D. I think Wong was really strong.
Wow. Groot also.
Agent 1 is very controversial, so...
James Gunn, yeah.
I'm going to put her in the B category only because I feel like the controversy affected what they ended up doing with the character, to be honest.
Can you just put deleted scene Hulk at S?
Yeah, we'll do that. Rescue, we didn't need anything else from Rescue. Pepper
Who's
Potts.
Rescue?
Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts.
I think she was fine. Shuri was great. I think Shuri was fine in that era, in that phase of movies. Okoye, also good. I didn't really have an issue with anything they did with Okoye. Wasp, I would say Wasp could have been better.
Probably say same with Ant-Man.
Yeah. Loki was great. I don't have any issues with Loki. I'm putting Loki in D, right?
Why are there 3 Groots?
Because there's baby Groot, there's teenager Groot, and there's adult Groot. And I know people would say they're the same, but they're not really this. I mean, these two could arguably be the same, but this one is not the same. So,
He was reborn.
Okay, hold on. Let's go ahead and we'll do the non-cosmic character last year. MCU Spider-Man. This might be controversial. What are your all's?
I would say, like, for me, they should. Well, I don't think they could do more. I would have liked to see them do more.
I actually think they could have done a lot with Spider-Man that they didn't do.
I think it was because of Sony.
This is an A or a B.
Yeah.
This character's got obviously very, 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 very high potential, and I mean the movies have been. I mean, two of them have been like, well, one's okay, one's not that very good, and one's a cameo fest. So. Yeah.
I think that they did a lot of cool things with Spider-Man, but I think there was a lot of stuff left on the table. There's a lot of storylines they ignored because they wanted to jump into Spider-Man as quickly as possible, which I understand why, because they really wanted Spider-Man to be in Civil War, and I understand that. But they jumped through things so quickly to get to Spider-Man. I feel like Spider-Man for me is either a low B or a high A of missed opportunities, and that up until Endgame. Because remember, this is up until Endgame. So,
yeah, I think there's missed opportunities for Spider-Man.
I'm going to put him in A. That might be controversial, but I'm going to put him in A, I think. Okay, now we're up to the cosmic characters. Let's go ahead and do Star-Lord. I would argue Star-Lord is probably one of the most fleshed out characters in all of the ones we've talked about. We know a lot about this character. He had an origin story. He had like a growth storyline. In this era, he was. I mean, you think about Guardians. Guardians influenced a lot of like what we got in the MCU, and I think that had a lot to do with Star-Lord.
I honestly feel like he got an origin story and a growth story all in one movie, and that was Guardians.
So I would put him either high C or low D. I don't think there's a lot more they could have done with him, right?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Pagey, Star-Lord.
Oh,
I feel like he's one of these two here.
Yeah, he's probably D, and I don't know that much more they could have done with him. Yes, he's probably D.
All right. All right. This is going to be rough because we had the third Guardians movie, which touched on a lot of these characters, especially Rocket. I don't think Rocket had much missed opportunity in the earlier phases, but I definitely think that his storyline was better once we get that third movie.
But that's after Endgame.
Yes, but I'm going to put him in C because there's no way to ignore the fact that a lot of his character development happens after Endgame. So
I think it started with Endgame, in my opinion, where he lost all of his friends.
Maybe. I still think there was a little bit missing from that era, right? Mm-hmm. So anybody argue like would he go higher or lower? Is C the right spot for him?
C's.
All right. Okay, this one's not controversial at all, and I will stand by this, even though I love what they did with the character. There's a lot of stuff this character was capable of doing that was left on the cutting room floor because he was comic relief, and that is Drax. I'm going to put Drax in S for me. Drax the Destroyer didn't really destroy anything.
Nope.
He was kind of the comic relief of that group and didn't do anything. And look, what he did was great, but it wasn't a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Would you argue against that? Anybody or
no? He basically stood in the background eating chips slowly and being invisible.
Right. Pagey.
I mean, in the first one, there's elements of it, but it just sort of falls away to the point where he's just a gag character, really.
Right, like how he takes everything literally and stuff. It just wasn't great.
Grinding, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those jokes were great. I laughed. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it.
I would say Gamora was pretty solid.
I don't think she's D. I think she's probably C.
Yeah, I would say C, because you could argue that she could have had more growth before the Thanos stuff, but she kind of was directly connected to that character. And I would say
this one actually makes like her. She had
Nebula.
Yeah, Nebula. No, not Nebula. Gamora had a no, Gamora. Gamora had a Gamora had a similar like situation with Ronnie, like not Ronnie, War Machine,
right?
Because of the whole like going back in time and erasing everything she's ever done. So yeah. I would say like C, definitely C.
Okay. How about Nebula? Because we know she gets a really good storyline after Endgame, but a lot of her story happens in the Infinity War Endgame era, to be honest.
For me,
I would say this. I would say this though. I don't think she belongs in B. I think she's a C, because I don't know if they could have given her any more prior to that. Just like with Gamora, I think we had to get to that point before we could deconstruct these characters.
True.
So,
but she is missing something. I just don't know what.
Unfortunately, I think Mantis is going to be a B or an A.
Wow.
They didn't. Wow. They could have done so much more with this character. Do you disagree? Where would you put her?
No, I don't know. Probably lower. Probably A.
Yeah.
It's one of those like one note characters once again, where it's just like I didn't even know what the potential was. Like, what's the height potential for Mantis?
I don't
Not
know.
acting like a 3-year-old.
I mean, yeah, because they didn't really flesh her out very well.
She definitely was Cecile in this one. She was like, "You feel sad."
Okay, that actual comparison, oddly enough, works. All right, Yondu.
Yondu was great. I liked him. And I think he's a D.
I would say you're probably right. I don't think we needed any more from him. I think we got everything we could get from him. What about you, Paigey? Would you move him around somewhere else?
I don't know.
Did you like Yondu or no?
He was okay. Yeah, I probably put him D. I don't know what more you could have done with him.
Right.
They even made him a dad figure for Star-Lord. I mean,
we are down to 3 versions of Groot, arguably 2 versions of Groot, and
arguably one version of Groot. Arguably one Eric.
I would say this version of Groot got everything we needed. I'm not going to even argue that we could have done more with him. I mean, because the character doesn't really say much. So,
well, he did say we are Groot, I think.
Right, so that definitely deserves a D then. I would think that so we got Baby Groot, which was like a cute factor. I'm going to put Baby Groot in the same tier because I don't really think that you could have done any more with that character than what we got. Teen Groot was the one that actually made Stormbreaker, right? That's the one that helped them with Stormbreaker.
I am Groot.
Yeah.
With an
you know what? Let's just go ahead and put him in D2. I don't think there's anything they could have done more with Groot to give Groot a bigger storyline.
Well, I forgot about. Okay, that was after.
Yours truly says that Teen Groot is a B or an A. I don't know. I mean, do we really need that much more from those characters? You talk about characters that are accessories. I feel like Groot falls into that category.
Baby Groot had their own TV show.
Yeah, but I don't think did that come out before Endgame?
I think before.
Jason said they should have let Mantis fight more. The actor showed she had the skills in the last Mission Impossible movie. Mantis fights in the comics. So I don't really know why they didn't do that. You're right. All right. Captain Marvel. So in Captain Marvel's a very unique spot because she was literally had one film and then some cameo stuff. That's pretty much it.
I feel like this is S.
I was gonna say, like, you could have done more, but she was introduced very late.
Very late
in phase 3. So I'm gonna put her in A for me because I don't think she is the same as these characters because I think she got a full movie, which is more than you could say for these guys. So I'm gonna put her in A, but I would argue that there's potential there because she only had one film, and we go on to get more of her later on. So, but yeah, I would say that's it. So this is the missed opportunity tier list that you guys voted for. So if you're watching this on playback, let me know in the comments if we got it wrong. If you disagree with us, I'd appreciate it. Leave a comment down below. Make sure you leave a like, all that good stuff if you're watching this on playback. Thank you so much. I think that brings us to the end of the stream. We are wrapped up. I had more topics, but what we're going to do is we're going to hold on to those until Thursday. So we'll do those on Thursday. Look, here's the reality. If it snows here, I might not be working tomorrow and Wednesday.
It's actually supposed to snow for the first time since 1993 in Florida.
Really?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay.
For 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
All right. If we get snow here tomorrow, because I normally work Tuesdays and Wednesdays nights, so if we get snow, I will probably do another live.
Oh, twerk off.
But it won't be like discussing. It'll be a separate. It'll be one of the other things. We have some other things we can do. So
yeah. You know what we should do? We should get should start up the after party movie club. That never started up. Remember that thing? And then everyone voted for Catwoman and fucking ruined it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That ruined it. So look, these are some options for bonus streams. We have the Arrowverse villain ranking, DCU fan casting. You know what we could do, Paigey, honestly, is if I don't work on Wednesday, we could just do one of these. We could do like a couple of these things combined together, honestly. So
hashtag it, knock it out.
Yeah.
Conspiracy stream update.
So those aren't going to be streams; they're going to be videos,
podcasts.
Yeah. I'll talk to Paigey tonight. We'll set up a date to record the first couple of those, and then we'll get them out for you guys. I honestly just completely forgot, but we'll talk about it tonight. Like we'll DM with each other, get locked in on that, and have a date for you guys.
Maybe that could be the name of the series, Locked In, and we use that alien as like the mascot.
Locked In progression.
Oh my god, perfect branding, Locked In, not geeked out. That'd be perfect branding.
Maybe you should rename the Nocturnal Podcast or Nerd. What's it called? Nocturnal Nerdcast. And Geeked Out, and then there's the Locked In Podcast.
Yeah.
Why pop culture in the dark? I just noticed that's on.
Yeah.
You should be in the dark.
That has literally been there since day one.
Yeah, I'm just.
What's funny is the initials of Locked In Podcast is LIP.
Oh my god, Jesus! All right. Anyway, let me double check and make sure we got all of our super chats. I didn't leave anybody behind there. No, I think we got everyone. All right. Thank you guys so much. Stay tuned to the channel. We'll see if we're going to do another stream this week. We are doing one on Thursday, but we might do one on Wednesday as well. So, okay, I wouldn't mind doing that. The only issue is that I think those can spiral. It could spiral very quickly.
Yeah, 1 minute we're talking about aliens, next it's about some conspiracy to assassinate an actual person currently.
Yeah. So
all of a sudden Eric's gonna get sniped while he's having a shower.
So I'll make a deal. We will do. So he said that's the interesting part. Not gonna lie, we will do our podcast as little snippets, I guess, bubbles of what the stream would be, and then we will do a once a month stream where we talk about the episodes or whatever. So maybe that'll be a good compromise. We'll see if it spirals out of control, because yours truly said that's the interesting part. I get it. We could end up there, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and we will see everyone next time. So take care and goodbye.